recognize, make my way into your mind, just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Welcome to the AfterTalk, where wrestling goes beyond the mat. Here's your host, the Glamazon Delisha. And she's gone.
And I think we just lost her.
Oh, and she's back.
There she is. Okay.
It was such a good introduction that she had to... I don't know.
She had to bounce.
Alright, there she is. Wait, you're on mute now.
And then we can't hear. You're on mute. Oh, you're not on mute. Can't hear you.
It was just going so well until she hit that button.
Of course. Look what happens. This is what you get when you do a live show. Anyways, hello, welcome to AfterTalk. Delisha is going to shut some stuff down and bring her things back up, and hopefully we'll be able to hear her. I'm Tricky Nikki. I'm the co-host. And of course, we couldn't do this without our amazing other what are you, a fact checker? What is your official
I'm the voice of the voiceless.
The voice of the voiceless. The people's champion, Cal.
Hello. You might have to go to the audio check, Delisha, and check what audio input you have.
Nope.
So yeah, I don't know. That's so weird because it was working fine, like right when you're talking, and then right when I introduced her, and she might have hit a button and accidentally X'd out. I think she hit the disconnect button instead of the unmute button. That's what I think happened. And now, like, we can't hear her. Check if all the audio inputs are in. Nope.
Nope.
Go to the settings on Discord.
Just be patient with us. We're trying our best to get Delisha back on the air.
So what's this episode about, Nicole?
Yeah, in the meantime, so we're going to actually be doing the best of all-time bracket of wrestlers. Now, what we decided to do is we each kind of took 8 different people and... Wait, yeah, right? 4 different eras, and then we picked 8 people, so 2 people from each era. And yeah, so we have the classic era, is it PG era?
So we have classic, attitude, PG, and current era, and we have 8 wrestlers from each era.
That's right.
Actually.
Yes. Well, because we each picked 2, so that way we could have 8, and we're all equally represented. And then we asked you guys what you wanted.
Yeah,
and we're excited. We're gonna pit them together.
And then basically we're gonna have a winner from each era, and then those winners are gonna face off in the final 4. So there'll be a winner from each era, I guess. And then from there we'll go to the final 4 and get to the greatest of all time or best of all time according to, I guess, us. But I was gonna make a Twitter poll, but unfortunately I guess you can't make polls within So I was gonna do like a you know how you can like stack tweets. No, can't hear you. Maybe take off your mic and just try the computer mic instead of your
I think isn't that what Delisha uses? Is her computer?
No, she got a snowball.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she upgraded her sound quality.
So oh yeah, I was gonna do a Twitter poll, but it wouldn't let me stack polls. You know how you could like stack tweets, like continue with that, you know, like add tweet. It wouldn't let me do. It wouldn't let me do it as polls. I guess it wouldn't let me tweet it out as all polls because I wanted to do like, you know, all of round or all of Group A is one tweet, and then, you know, all of Group B is one tweet, so that they could all vote. But it would not let me do it properly, and I was pretty upset with that. And,
again.
There she is.
Ah, there you are. Fantastic.
Now we just need your video.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure the sound works first.
Did you unplug it?
It was. I did it the first time and it didn't work, but this time it did. So.
Is it back in now or no?
No, this is my laptop.
Okay. All right. The glam is on Delisha. Wait, so let me guess. Let me guess. You pressed the disconnect button instead of unmute?
What?
Why did you go off right like when you're introduced? Like, did you press the disconnect button instead of?
No,
unmute?
I pressed the mute button.
And
then I moved my cursor out the way, and then it was like, "No, we're not letting you speak."
Oh. All right, go ahead.
That's fine. I'm here now. It's cool.
We kind of introduced what we were doing, and yeah. I just posted in the chat, those of you that want to follow along, we do have, it's not just some invisible bracket that you cannot see. I mean, obviously Cal has it up over here, but if you want to follow along, we do have a link in the chat if you wanted a separate page, so that way you could see what's up.
And welcome to Will and Randall. Thank you for joining us, as well as the other however many people are lurking right now, and people who are also giving their like opinions on who they think is the greatest. They told me over Twitter and Discord and stuff like that. But you guys should be here and talk about it and defend us, maybe make some arguments and maybe sway our minds. Even though I already know who the best is, but did we lose Delisha again?
Same though. Oh no, I just thought she was being that still.
I know I see her as a gray screen. I don't even see her.
Oh, I see her, but she's frozen. Oh, I see. But on YouTube, you're right. She's a gray screen.
Well, because it goes off
On
my
screen,
feed, so whatever I have is
Oh.
what it's showing.
Right. Oh, duh. That makes sense.
Or maybe we should just go on with the episode. And as soon as she gets back, we'll start the episode. Like we'll be like, all right, there she is. You there, Delisha?
I was there the whole time. I don't know what happened.
You've got froze.
All right, Delisha, you want to start with the criteria then, so we can get along with it instead of hopefully don't get kicked again.
So basically, what we're going to think about as we're choosing who to put through to the next round is just 3 simple things. One would be in-ring overall capability, their mic skills, and then their impact on the, I guess, WWE universe, so to speak, the audience at large. And just a disclaimer that you might, although many of these wrestlers have, you know, had multiple impacts on multiple different eras of WWE, like for instance, Undertaker, he's done something great in like every era that he's been in. We decided to go with where they either made their first impact or where they had the greatest impact on their particular era of WWE. So just because, you know, Taker won like, let's say 10 titles in the PG era, he really got into fame in that Attitude Era. That's where he made his lasting impact for years to come. So just like that, because there are some wrestlers who have maybe won their first title in one era, but they really had a better impact overall in another era.
And
to
we
how
have a lot of
decided.
wrestlers on this list that have been wrestling since like the Attitude Era. So I mean, it was hard, but that's where we put them. In case you were like, what the hell? Why is the Miz here instead of there?
Yeah, and also we also have people who are like probably wrestling long before we had them on their list too. So we got to look at their work as a whole. But you know, the reason why I put them in certain spots is because of that. You know, where like Alicia said, and I think we're also taking in-ring ability, right?
Didn't want this to be a 6-hour stream, so
Right.
there may be people who got left off that all of us think maybe should have been on the list, but for time and for our own mind's sake, we just stuck with the two from each era to come through. So
and maybe we'll come back too, because some people are asking like I know Will said why not Jeff Hardy. I'm like, first of all, Jeff Hardy's trash. Second of all, he's more of a tag team guy than he is a solo guy. I know he has a solo career, but he's known as so maybe
I have a lot of thoughts if this goes well. So
maybe down the line, you know, tag team or whatever. But we're also taking into account in-ring ability, right? Because I don't think you mentioned that, but in-ring ability as well. Oh, you did? Okay. All right. So should we start with Group A?
Let's do it.
So Group A represents the classic era, basically stuff before most of you guys were born. Most of these years were born. I think the only people who were born at this time were myself and Big Time Gaming, Entertained as well, and maybe Sky Inc. But this is a long time ago. What?
Said and Moses.
And Moses, yes. So basically, this is Greco-Roman wrestling. So people who wrestled naked in the Colosseum is who we're mentioning in the classic era. No, but yeah, so this is like early... I mean, I should say late 80s, early 90s time, so classic era. And we have 8 wrestlers that are involved in this. Like we said, every era has 8 wrestlers, and we have 4 eras. The first era, Group A, being classic. The first seed is Hulk Hogan going against the number 8 seed, Dusty Rhodes.
I think I'll start. I think this might hurt the chat and send them into an uproar. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Dusty. Mainly for the fact that I think he had a better charisma. I think they're pretty similar in kind of their in-ring ability. I think a lot of wrestlers from this era, what we're used to now, is sort of still gonna be like a limited ring set. I think they're kind of even on that part. But I always had a liking towards Dusty when I would see him on screen, especially when he became as manager or the on-screen person for NXT. I fell in love with him all over again. And as I know, maybe Hogan has a better overall audience impact, but the way Dusty will grab you in his not outlandish promos, but his, can't think of the right word, but like all over the place promos where you'll be like, he's just the everyday man who I can get behind. And so that's why I'm giving my vote to Dusty.
My vote is for Dusty because I don't endorse racist.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
See, we're taking this out of hand because this is supposed to be about wrestling, and like you cannot think about wrestling without Hulk Hogan. I was trying to explain this to you guys like you don't want to include him. I hate Hulk Hogan. I literally hate Hulk Hogan. He's like up there with me for like Ric Flair, LeBron James, and Daniel Bryan. Like those people I hate. But I cannot disclaim. I cannot say without any bias he is wrestling back then. That's why he's number 1 seed, because he is wrestling. And personal feelings aside,
everyone knew Hulk Hogan.
Yes, it's like like I said, if you say baseball, it's like Babe Ruth. Everyone knows Babe Ruth. If you say basketball, Michael Jordan, soccer, Pele, stuff like that. You like. This you cannot say.
It hurts me.
It doesn't matter about
me to cast my vote for Hogan. Okay.
I don't want to cast my vote, but I'm being honest and fair, and that's what it has to be, because you cannot think of wrestling without Hulk Hogan. And I'm looking at wrestling. I'm not looking at personal stuff. You know, he might not have to win the whole thing, but I know compared to Dusty Rhodes, he is by like so much. Like, you know, you cannot have wrestling without Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is.
I didn't. Oh, I didn't even think about. I mean. Not on the stream. I didn't even think about the outside. Hogan. Disclaimer. No, it's not the right word. I can't think of words right now. But me personally, he's never made an impact on me as a wrestler because one, I didn't grow up with seeing him on television until later on when he came back in the Hollywood Hogan phase. So that was my really first impact of Hogan, of me as a fan, seeing him on screen. And while I thought that was great, at that time I was already imprinted by other wrestlers. He didn't have that, like I said, he didn't have
But
that.
once again, sorry to interrupt, you're taking it personally. We're talking about wrestling as a whole,
Didn't even let
what
me
he
finish
did for
my
the business. Okay, go ahead.
Did not really finish my. That's why I said when it came to. That's why I said him and Dusty have sort of the same like in-ring capability, where it's not to what I'm used to, but I actually feel like with Dusty and his charisma, just had the better, I guess overall. Well, one, I think he has the better overall mic skills comparing the two.
That's the one thing I would give him.
And then, like I said, I don't have a lot of experience of seeing Hogan in that era but I know he has the impact for sure. Like I would never doubt that. That would just be ludicrous and asinine, honestly.
Okay. If we're just looking at wrestling, then I would have to cast my vote for Hogan, simply because I did not grow up watching him, but his impact was still there by the time I was watching wrestling.
And still to this day.
People, yeah, I mean, like, when you say wrestling, so many people know, they know who Hulk Hogan is, they know who The Rock is, they know who Ric Flair is, and it's like, regardless of how I feel about them, I mean, at the end of the day, if we are talking just the greatest of all time, Hulk Hogan does take it over Dusty Rhodes.
And the reason why this hurts so bad now, that like people are being personally hurt by it, is of what he said, is because of what an impact he had throughout all our childhoods, as well as a lot of other people's growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why.
I was so upset, okay? I was upset when I found out that he was a racist, okay? I had Hulk Hogan gear, and I was like...
When, I know, we're going to talk about,
it really doesn't matter. I'm about to say, it doesn't matter what I say anyway, because I'm outvoted 2-1, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
No, you could sway us. Like, I mean, Nicole was on your side, but I'm saying when talking about just about... like I said, I'm going to preface this. I hate Hulk Hogan. I hate him with a passion. But I will let you know that you cannot talk about wrestling, especially in the classic era, without Hulk Hogan. He was the Babe Ruth of that time. Like, he was, the biggest name maybe in the world at that time of anything, So, like, that is why... And the WWF at that time was built on Hulk Hogan. We wouldn't have what we have today without Hulkamania and all the things. Like, he spawned a cartoon. He had, like, vitamins. He had the merchandise. He had everything. And that's what it is today because of him. He is like the one representative that we talk about through every era. You have that one guy. He's that guy for that era. Like we say, The Rock is one, or Stone Cold is one, and Cena's one. He's that hands down. I don't think anyone was better than Hogan back then. Even though I hated him, and I was always an Ultimate Warrior fan. But yeah, so
same. Ultimate Warrior is the best. Okay.
WrestleMania 6 was one of the greatest moments for me, and my favorite main events of WrestleMania because of that moment. Warrior beating Hogan. And Hogan didn't even want to lose the title that night. Which is, his ego is ridiculous. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really hate him, but, it would be very remiss not to at least give him through one round because he's the greatest of that era. And I would, despite personal feelings, I have to be unbiased journalist. So... So, I don't know.
All right.
So, should we go with our final votes, though?
Final vote is Hogan.
Delisha?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So you're going Hogan as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're submitting...
I mean, you can stick to Dusty Rhodes, you still lose.
It's fine. That's not... I don't even... Was Dusty even my pick? I don't even know. I don't even remember anymore. Anyway, no, I meant in the original of putting him in. But
honestly,
yeah,
I don't think I would even have Dusty Rhodes in the top 8. When it came to that era, there was a lot of people back then that were really good, but I guess...
I think it was me.
Really?
I think I put Dusty Rhodes because I put Ultimate Warrior, and Delisha was like, Cal already has Ultimate Warrior. And I'm like, well, I can't put Hulk Hogan.
Because there's people like Big John Studd and a lot of other, like, Buddy Rogers, all these people, like, from the old school... And we're not even talking about WCW, like in like Japan, like with Great Muta and all those people back then that were amazing. Superstar Jimmy Snuka, he was a superstar back then. Ricky Steamboat, like all these great wrestlers. But Dusty Rhodes was great too.
I recognize Dusty, like like you just literally just showed a picture, I feel like I would recognize Dusty than some of the others.
Mm.
Not Ricky or Snuka, but I feel like I would
Yeah, no, I
probably
get it.
recognize Dusty. Also, I've been going back and watching NXT, so that's probably why I have a more softer spot as well.
Yeah.
Because he's more recent in my mind.
And the legacy too. Same thing as Hogan, legacy now, but more so with Dusty Rhodes because he has Cody and Goldust or whatever he goes by nowadays.
Dustin.
And they have the Dusty Rhodes Invitational, right? Like the tag team wrestling or whatever it is. So you know, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, the legacy is there. It's just I think when you compare him to Hogan, you can't. You know, it's hard. If it's against anybody else, maybe not.
Let's go to the next one.
Second seed is now when we have talk about WWE. Back then WWF. Hulk Hogan. WCW had their own hero, which was Ric Flair. He's a number 2 seed against a number 7 seed, the aforementioned Ultimate Warrior.
Oh man, this is so hard for me.
I'm about to say, Nick, you start this one.
You know, gosh, for me, it's difficult because personally I don't like Ric Flair, but we're here to talk about skill, and it's, you know, it's hard. It's hard to not take Ric Flair seriously when he had got into the ring. I mean, he was one of the greatest wrestlers, and I mean, that very much shows in his legacy with, you know, Charlotte. And I mean, I don't really know how he was on the mic. I've seen some snippets and stuff like that. But for me, come on, you guys. Ultimate Warrior. I mean, look at his get-up. That is wrestling at its core. Like, I mean, not that Ric Flair's sparkly, like, cape thingy wasn't awesome, but, like, the Ultimate Warrior was just where it was at for me. Gosh. You know, I'm going to have to... give it to Ric Flair because I feel like of the two wrestlers, he was probably technically better. And I don't know how he was on the mic, so I can't judge that. What was the other thing that we were thinking about?
Mic skills, I guess longevity, how they applied to or appeal to the audience, the universe.
God, that's hard because I feel like so many people, you can throw up a picture of Ultimate Warrior. People are like, I know that guy. Yeah, I think my vote is going to be for Ric Flair. Which makes me want to vomit in my mouth hole.
Cal?
Yeah, so Ultimate Warrior was my favorite for this era, like I just mentioned. And it is tough because like I said, I hate Ric Flair, but same arguments I made for Hulk Hogan as WWF, Ric Flair was for WCW. His legacy still lasts on to another person I forgot to mention who I hate, which is Charlotte Flair. And it's crazy because the woo is everywhere. Not just in WWE, not wrestling. You can go to a sporting event, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, anything. There's the woo. And my favorite team of all sports, the New Jersey Devils, when the Devils score a goal, after it's over, the songs play, you hear the woo! Ric Flair comes on. Which makes no sense because it's not like Charlotte or anything like that, but they still have him doing the woo. So like that, it's impacted everywhere. And he was good in the ring. He was great on the mic. You know, he was very eccentric as well. But he's going against my favorite. But I still have to vote for him because of the same reasons I voted for Hogan, even though I don't like Hogan either.
Right.
You know, as my unbiased
Man, I forgot about
journalist,
the woo.
Yeah, so
we did the woo at Universal Studios. We were watching Waterworld, and like literally, I was joking, and I was like, "Woo!" And like 4 people in the stands were like, "Woo!" They did it back. I was like, "Shut up! Where are my wrestling fans at?"
Yeah, see.
Yeah. This one's was a little bit hard for me too, because I think they're a little more evenly matched than we might think of them to be. The only place where I can see them like definitely going above and beyond would be Rick in the charisma part. Because we all know the whole style and profile and promo. I can't quote it right now, but I'm pretty sure once you start saying it, you know who said it. And when that theme music hits, who's coming out. You know what's about to happen. But the same could be said for Warrior, because once that upbeat tempo music hits, you just want to go shake a ring like Montez Ford. And then just go run down to the ring. I feel like in those aspects they're similar. Although I do think in ring, I think Ultimate Warrior maybe have a better moveset on the technical side, where as well as Rick, still technical, but you think of Ric Flair, you mostly just think of figure four leg lock, but that's a signature move, so that's what you think of.
Wait, hold on. Wait, have you watched old school matches?
A lot.
Okay. Yeah, so Ultimate Warrior was the Great Khali or the John Cena in the ring back then. He had like 3 moves. He had the splash, he had the gorilla press slam, and then a shoulder block. That's about all he had. Like, he wasn't really good in the ring at all. Ric Flair is known to be a great wrestler in the ring. He's trained other wrestlers. So
Okay.
Ric Flair
seen like clips,
destroys.
not like full matches.
Oh no, he destroys. And like I said, I hate Ultimate Warrior was my favorite back then. But to be honest, Ric Flair has by far he is like I don't know who's a great wrestler nowadays. Like he's like Kurt Angle compared to like Great Khali when you talk about Ric Flair. And
Okay,
Ultimate
I was like,
Warrior.
wait, really? I was like, oh, okay, we can put it in that. Okay. I mean, my vote was going to Rick anyway, but I was just saying.
Let's make sure we got all fact checks. I know Joe's not here for fact checking, so I gotta make sure you guys know. Because this is my era. I was in my 40s during this era. Yeah, I know.
I was just an embryo, but that's no excuse because we have the internet now.
And you're the WWE Network, only $9.95 a month or whatever it is. So
now some of it's part of it is still free now.
Okay.
I don't know.
Thanks, COVID.
but
joking.
but yeah, biggest thing for me is cultural impact. Like he has a song written about him. Clear that is. So it's, man.
Also,
Yeah,
you can't like Ric Flair because he likes LeBron James.
Oh yeah, that's
Gold roll versus the face paint. I think the golden roll with Flair on the back might get more attention.
Yeah.
These days.
One thing we do have to mention: Warrior did die, and he actually also did the Dusty Rhodes as well. But Ultimate Warrior had one of the best promos ever, arguably, like almost predicting his own death, where he goes every day, at every point in some man's life where he breathes his last breath, and that happened to be the night before he died. That's kind of crazy. Like it was that
Yeah.
I go back and watch that. It's kind of crazy. So, you know, that's just one thing I forgot to mention about the Ultimate Warrior. So who were you voting for?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that was
Ric
so
Flair.
simpatico.
Yep.
You guys literally took a drink and put it down at the same
Oh.
time.
It's that Nickel relationship. That's what it is.
That's right, Nickel.
Delisha, you voting for Ric Flair as well?
Yep, mine's Ric Flair.
Okay. Submit scores. All right, it's working like it's supposed to. There it is. All right.
Nice.
So this brings us to our third match, which is another sweetheart from WCW. Sting, ranked 3rd, against number 6 ranked Andre the Giant.
All right, Cal, you're starting this one.
All
We're
right.
starting this one.
I love it because, when I had my Ultimate Warrior in WWF, I had my Sting in WCW. And Sting is still here to this day, pretty much, who might wrestle again because, you know, screw Super Seth Rollins, who messed him up in that one buckle bomb or whatever he did. And it pissed me off so much because I love Sting, especially, I love, like, the Beach Blonde Stinger back in the day. Like, you know, that. And now, his crow gimmick, to, like, when he evolved to the crow gimmick, that made him even cooler, coming from the rafters with the baseball bat and all that. That was awesome. Sting has always been a solid on the mic, in the ring, and his even his backstage vignettes and stuff, and like package promos have been amazing. Like, there's nothing I can say bad about this guy. He was always the consummate professional as well. And when we talk about like Attitude Era, I'm probably gonna compare a lot to the Attitude Era because that's most of our audience knows Attitude Era and they know that stuff. You really didn't have a Stone Cold without a Rock, and you didn't have a Rock without a Stone Cold. Back in this time, you didn't have Ric Flair without Sting, and a Sting without Ric Flair. Now, Sting did have, bouts with people like Lex Luger and stuff like that, but the two marquee matches was always Sting and Ric Flair together. So those are the two marquee names back in WCW back then. Andre the Giant, what can I say? He's a legend, not living anymore, rest in peace to him, but he was a living legend during that time. This guy, you know, he has the thing where he drank like 236 beers in this one sitting along with 7 wine bottles. He was in The Princess Bride. People love that movie. He was the Gentle Giant. Like, he was the world's first Gentle Giant, I should say. I can't say world's first because there's probably whale sharks before him. But you know what I mean. Like, in the ring, he was the world's first Gentle Giant and stuff. And not even whale sharks, whales too, just in general. But, like, he was just amazing. You know, he didn't have really any in-ring ability. because of his size, obviously, and he's always struggling. He had back pains, knee pains, but he was a force. Like, he was there. Just his presence alone was great. He'll have his one greatest match of all time, WrestleMania 3, which he wasn't even moving around that well against Hulk Hogan. But still, his presence there speaks for a lot. He wasn't good on the mic. He always had someone like Bobby the Brain Heenan or someone speak for him. And even like he was on the Hulk Hogan cartoon show and stuff like that. But he people loved him he was a heel. People hated him, but when he was a face, like I said, everyone loved him. He was a giant teddy bear. That's the only impact I could say that he had, besides him being like the first giant, true giant, a living legend, or like at that time, living legend, But Sting, hands down, Sting. But if we're going by criteria,
is it me? My turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or do you want to go?
It's fine. No, go ahead. It's cool. Go.
You know what? Of the two, like, I don't remember ever seeing Andre the Giant wrestle. My image of Andre the Giant is from Princess Bride. But like, Sting was one of those people, and forgive me because you could obviously see the trend here, right? Like, I thought Ultimate Warrior was great because of his getup. Well, guess what? I liked Sting because of his getup. His getup was awesome. With this face paint. I don't know. Was that later? That might have been later. Did he have face paint back in this era?
He back in this era, he had bleach blonde, flat top hair, and face paint.
Okay, because I dig his face paint. Like that's my thing.
So you know how Ric Flair came out with a different robe every time? Sting will come out with face paint to match his ring gear.
Okay, all right. Yeah, tense. I mean, I remember just seeing clips of Sting, and then like later I got to watch Sting because he was around for quite some time, and it was a joy to watch him in the ring. I thought that he was really great, and again, when I was a kid, I wasn't really paying attention to how people would speak on the mic, so I can't once again I apologize. I don't know how he was on the mic because I have only watched snippets of stuff, but I mean, against Andre the Giant, he has superb mic skills because at least he speaks into it. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's my vote is going to go to Sting. I feel like he's deserving of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say I agree with Cal. But again, like I didn't have in the era happening at that time visuals of watching Sting. Mainly because I don't think I was watching wrestling at that point. Was I born? I don't know. I think
How old are you?
I'm 29. I was born in 91.
Okay.
Well, and I didn't start watching until I was like 7 or 8 or something like that. So my first actual vision live on screen, I'm pretty sure is when he showed up against Seth Rollins a few years ago in as the like I said, live on TV, sitting here on the couch watching.
Wait, you didn't see him WrestleMania against Triple H?
Oh, I didn't know that was afterwards. That was after. I mean, that was before.
He's made his debut against Triple H against Authority. Because then he was immediately injured afterwards.
I think I
struck
that match from my memory record.
Yeah, I was mad because Triple H won that match.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I think I would give it to Sting in that regards for hearing capabilities and mic development or skills, because I feel like they're him and Andre the Giant are probably even in form of audience reaction and overall capability. Because you said we know him as the Gentle Giant from the Princess Bride. Wow.
and Hathaway. Whoa. I didn't know shit.
That'd be a totally different movie if he was in there. And just overall hearing the stories about the Giant, you feel the love that the audience and his peers had for him. But you also do hear about how they felt about Sting and how he was a sort of like backstage mainstay for other people, and the fact that he was able to transition himself as we go with the times to keep himself at the forefront with that audience, and that takes ingenuity as well. And so I too will go with Sting over this particular matchup.
All right. And
we have to stop agreeing now. No, just kidding.
All right. That brings us to our final match of the first round for Group A, the Classic Era, which pits Macho Man Randy Savage against Bret the Hitman Hart. And Macho Man is ranked, I think, 4th, and Bret Hart is ranked 5th.
You get to start this one.
This one, man, it's tough because I know more about Bret Hart of his. Well, actually, I think actually, if we go with my skills, I think probably gotta go with Macho Man because his promos are more better, well-rounded. And I know early on with Bret, wasn't really known for his mic skills. It was just more his tactical in-ring ability, which I would give to him over Macho. Then I'm sort of like talking this along off myself, because my instinct would probably be go with Macho Man because I love him. But I think once you go with technical in-ring skill and then that audience cultural impact, while a lot of them love to imitate Macho Man, I feel like picture-to-picture, face-to-face for wrestling fans, they will know of Bret and his impact on the business more so Randy. I think I just going with that particular scorecard in my mind, I think I want to go Bret. I think I'm gonna go that way. Although, like again, it's not discounting everything else that Randy has done also as well.
Yeah, so when it comes to mic skills, both are very good on the mic. Like Alicia said, Bret started out shaky, but now he's great on the mic. The best there is, best there is, best there ever will be. It's more attributed to his in-ring skills, like Alicia was saying, which are far superior to Randy Macho Man Savage's. As for WWE impact or audience impact, but during their time, much of the time, he was a big name. He was loved, especially when he joined with Force and Hulk Hogan, forming the Mega Powers back in WrestleMania 4 or 5 days. Welcome Sky Inc. and stuff like that. But if we're talking about lasting impact and all that to today, Bret Hart is still there, and you cannot talk about wrestling without the Hart dynasty, as well as the Hart family dungeon that they always talked about, is where all those great people like Davey Boy Smith, Owen Hart, Tyson Kidd, Natty, all these people came from. Jim Van Lightheart, they all came from there. Brian Pillman even at some time. Like that was when they had regional wrestling, people were always trying to train back with the Hart family during that time. So you it's just I think has to be Bret Hart for me as well.
Yeah, my vote is also for Bret the Hitman Hart. And for pretty much the reasons Cal just listed, like, you can't, I think one of the biggest things I remember was when Owen Hart died. Like, I was not watching that pay-per-view, but, like, I remember when that happened and what a big deal it was. And it kind of from that moment on, like, I took it sounds bad, but I took an interest in the Hart family. And, I really like Natty. I think that her abilities as a wrestler, she came from a wrestling family, and you can't. Yeah, I mean, even today, it's so apparent that the Hart family still reigns supreme. Well, I don't know, Ric Flair's family's still around, but at least Natty's bearable. But yeah, my vote is also for Bret the Hitman Hart.
So that is our first upset. Even though it's a 4th seed against a 5th seed, where you most likely see your upsets, that is our first upset. So, are we going to the next era, or are we sticking with this era and going to the next matchup?
Let's do next era. Let's get all this the first round eras.
Wait.
I agree.
Wait. What?
You said I agree.
Yeah, I know, but to what? Like you guys said, let's go get all done with this first round of it. So that's two different things. Like, so what do you mean?
No, let's do the next era's first round and then the next era's first round. Okay, so then we'll come back through.
Okay, so now we are moving to Group B, which is the Attitude Era, featured in the mid to late 90s, I guess, to the early 2000s. First matchup is ranked number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin against Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero.
I think Nikki had returned to Hart.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was waiting for the bracket to come up. So I actually think Eddie Guerrero was my pick, because I wanted to pick the Rock, and I didn't. Who else did I pick that was the same? Oh, is this? No, this isn't Punk's era yet. Anyways, for me, I'm gonna have to give it to Stone Cold, just because there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, Stone Cold is a beast in the ring, but more importantly, he's iconic. Like, even people who don't know shit about wrestling know Stone Cold, and it's like, with his beers and what a different time it was. Yeah, I mean, my vote is for Stone Cold, which, by the way, the thing didn't change, Cal.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's down here. I'm silly. I gotta scroll. look at me learning how technology works, you guys. Okay, so yeah, I mean, for me, my vote is I picked Eddie Guerrero, but I mean, going against Stone Cold, like, let's be real. Stone Cold is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you have Austin 316. Like, everybody knows who he is. You can't have wrestling in this era without Stone Cold. So yeah, my vote is for Stone Cold Steve Austin, hands down. It's not even a competition.
Hey, I think it is a competition. Okay.
It doesn't matter what you think. Oh wait, wrong wrestler.
Sorry.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, I do think that it is a fair competition, but as in-ring ability, I think I will give the notch to Eddie for his more, because he could be high flyer, he could be the technical, he could be the submission person that you need to be, and like skills, both of them, I would give the notch up to Stone Cold because he could go off more. He could go off the cuff and like be more in your face with those liners that just get you. But Eddie also had his own way of getting you on his side with his mic skills, and as the biggest part is cultural impact overall. Like you said, Stone Cold is known by almost anyone. You put his picture on the screen, people are like, oh, I know that guy. You may not know, like, non-wrestling and wrestling. I know that guy. Eddie, not so much. In wrestling, yes, we all know who Eddie is, but outside of wrestling, not so much. And I guess the argument you said he maybe not have gotten that chance because he was, gone too soon. And the only other reason why I would definitely give it to Stone Cold is because Eddie still had a chance in other later eras to become the Eddie that we know and love today. But in this actual moment of Attitude Era, there's no way you cannot give it Stone Cold. I will give it to Stone Cold because Eddie has my heart later on. He made his impact a little bit later on.
Bobby, he's only here once. We only put every wrestler on here once.
No, I mean, like, as far as we know him today.
No, I know. They asked a question. They asked a question in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Like,
sorry.
Is he on here again in another era? Because that's what. But Delisha explained earlier.
That would be cheating.
Yeah, Delisha, and no one live cheats and steals better than Eddie Guerrero, right?
True.
But yeah, so we're talking about. I can go back to classic era with these guys as well because I used to watch them in WCW. I loved like the luchadors style that we had in WCW with Eddie Guerrero. Stunning Steve Austin was Stone Cold back in the day. So then he came to WWE and became the ringmaster for a little bit under the tutelage of $1 Million Man. Then he became Stone Cold. That's when he blew up, right? Is because he was still Steve Austin and the ringmaster, but then when he had to cut that promo at King of the Ring 90 something. That's when he blew up into Stone Cold Steve Austin because he was going against Shake the Snake and he kept saying, John 3:16, John 3:16. And that's when Austin came in and said, Austin 3:16 means I just whooped your ass. His lasting appeal goes forever. And I think this was the first time, I think, in WWF history / WWE history, because we're getting to that time where they switched, when you saw a rebellion with the universe against the corporation, right? Where you had that one rebel, which is Stone Cold, who led a rebellion against the owners. That's True. The first time. Now we see it as a recurring theme, right? But this is when it first initially happened in the mainstream wrestling. That might have happened somewhere prior to that, but I mean, for us, in mainstream wrestling, that's the first time we've seen it. So he's been a very iconic factor. Eddie Guerrero, Great in ring, definitely better than Stone Cold. Mike, I agree with Delisha, give to Stone Cold. When it comes to WWE Universe, I think, as much as I hate to say this, Eddie Guerrero, no one really cared about until after he died. I think some people true wrestling purists loved him for his in-ring ability and all that, but it wasn't until Chavo and Rey Mysterio took on that mantle after Eddie died, and everyone was like Eddie for that kind of thing. That's when the whole universe embraced him, as opposed to just the purist of wrestling who loved him from his WCW days till his death in WWE.
That's fair.
So I'm not trying to be cast down thing on his legacy, but I'm saying that's when it really took off for the universe as a whole. So again, that's why I said Stone Cold, when it comes to appeal to the universe, I think Stone Cold wins out by far in that case. So that I think we had 3 votes for Stone Cold. Is that what we had?
Yep.
So I think, have we gotten all unanimous so far? Or no, wait, have we?
No, we had a few where we 1 or 2.
I mean,
I feel like once we get to this next round.
Yeah, we're gonna have some more stuff. Delisha wanted to pick Dusty Rhodes in round 1, but she ended up giving into peer pressure.
In what might be the most lopsided match, we have our number 2 seed, The Rock, against China.
Come on, they're both big and beefy. It'd be great.
They're both big and beefy.
I feel.
Am I wrong?
Being the people's champ on AfterMat, I think I'm gonna start here, and just say The Rock. I don't think anything needs to be said. I don't need to waste any of my arguments. This is not even a matchup. Nothing bad about China, but I can't even justify any of this here. So I don't even need to cast any arguments. I'm just gonna say The Rock, and that's it. Okay, if we're talking about sex tapes. We're talking about sex tapes. China has a better sex tape than The Rock.
Go ahead.
That's right.
There we go. That's the one category that China wins over The Rock.
We know.
That we know of at the moment.
Man. Right.
So my vote goes for The Rock.
I mean, China was my pick because I wanted to throw some ladies in here, and I'm glad Delisha did too, because at first when I made my list, it was just a bunch of dudes, and I'm like, wait a second, there's something wrong with my list right now. And so I put in a couple of chicks, and the first time we kind of ran through this and we randomized it, it was China versus The Undertaker, and I thought that was a completely ridiculous match. And I'm like, guys, we should keep it. And of course she ends up going up against The Rock, which is even more ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I loved China because, she was a big beefy girl who could get in the ring and toss guys around, but you put her in the ring with The Rock, and let's say what it is. I mean, The Rock would dominate, and The Rock does dominate. He's fantastic on the mic. China didn't get to spend too much time on the mic, different era. I mean, The Rock is the people's champ, and I remember little tiny 8-year-old me, standing up on the couch being like, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And jumping on my brothers and stuff. I mean, he's iconic, and I mean, he's so great. There's absolutely no competition here. China was my pick, but my vote is for The Rock.
Yeah, it is kind of an unfair competition, but I feel like the biggest, if we're not going with outside world of her adult entertainment to make more money, which is another conversation. I guess the biggest impact that she had would have been being a part of DX and being a strong woman in the ring who can go toe to toe with the guys as well as with the girls. So that was the impact that I would say she brought to the audience and the
which is why I loved her.
Universe at large. But when you compare it to everything else, of course, The Rock has a better in-ring ability, and he's almost untouched on the mic, especially in that era, almost. And then he even has the bigger score on the cultural impact because he's one of the, in my opinion, one of the last remaining actual movie superstars that we have in the world, that where his name and his face is so recognizable, international, universal, probably even in other galaxies they know who this man is. So it's unfair to not say The Rock.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take anything away from, I'm not trying to take anything away from China. I feel, and another thing about the comment about not having that many women on the list, I think up to this era, even throughout this until now, today, I don't think women got a fair shake. That's why I did not put.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Being a wrestler purist, I don't see women like, you know, China was the first woman to make an impact. Well, we talked about this before too with like Jacqueline and Sable and all that, but they're more still valets back then. They weren't what they are today as superstars as well. They were divas to now what they are superstars. That's why I wouldn't have voted for a woman until where they are now to be considered as the best of all time. If you did separate lists of women, and I had to go to classic, I would include people like Alundra Blaze and Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young and all those people, Bull Nakano, all those great wrestling women. But like when I'm comparing it to all time, and if we did a separate bracket for women, then it would be a different story. But like I said,
but that's the thing, is I didn't want it to be a separate bracket for women. I wanted to put the women where they belonged, and you're right, because really they belong in now. They don't belong back in this time.
So I think people, Bobby shaking his head like, why is The Rock against China? But like, could we have stuck anyone else in there? Possibly. There's probably another male wrestler that could get stuck in there, but you know, we want to give a fair shake to them too. But unfortunately for her, this was not a fair shake because
nope, not at all.
Oh, they're coming up. That's gonna be the next era. Don't worry.
Slater, when you see in the bracket, I think Lita is there, and then I was gonna say our bracket actually reflects a lot of how WWE put its focus on, because you don't see a lot more women until our current bracket where we have 3 versus like the 2 we have in the earlier days.
Right.
Guys,
we have Lita on this bracket.
We only
have China
had a select number to choose from. It's 8 from each of us, or hundreds of wrestlers. So cut us some slack here, and also name some of your audience members, because they had their choices too. So just say it. Say it. Oh, if you really want us to delve into this deeper, hit that like button, send a comment, and maybe we can do more.
No way.
Now brings up our number 3 rank, The Undertaker versus Edge. There's a link. If you scroll up, Slayer, there's a link. That I think Delisha or Nicole put it in. If you scroll up in the chat.
I put it in.
You can drop it again if you want, and then he can see it and click it.
Hold on, I got it. Here. Oh, that's not it. That's not the right link.
All right, Delisha,
hold on, I got you.
While she's doing it, start with Undertaker rank 3 against Edge.
Tried, it wouldn't let me.
Boom, there you go. There's the link.
Okay. Oh, I'm not a mod, so I don't think it lets me drop links. That's what it was. Yeah. So what was our next?
It is The Undertaker versus Edge.
Did me to go first this time?
Yeah, that's what I was asking you to do. While she was doing the
I lost count. I think with this one, it might have me thinking of the same way it was Eddie versus Stone Cold, where one, if you think of cultural, I'll start with cultural impact. I think Taker on this list might be one of the biggest cultural impacts of the whole WWE universe. He was there on the first episode of Raw, and he's still in it today. I mean, not as a regular feature, obviously, but he's still a phenom. Like, he commands a presence like no one I have ever seen in this business. And he's in that rank, you shut up. You are so captivated by this enigma. Sorry to use the one that was given the job, but this enigma of a persona that it almost doesn't even matter what he does. We're gonna be like, yeah. Even with the either WrestleManias ago versus, was that the one with Reigns?
I don't know, he did it twice against Reigns or whatever it was, I think, right?
Where, and also of the pay-per-views that they did overseas, to where he was like, this isn't the same guy who we're used to, but it didn't even matter. He still had our respect. To where also on the outer world at large, they know who the Undertaker is. They may not even have watched wrestling in 15 years, 30 years. Okay, they know who that guy is. While on the other hand, Edge made more of a in-world impact. Unless you're a big Haven fan, I'm just saying. And as much like I said with Eddie, I feel like his impact didn't come until a little bit later on, where once he put on that Deadman persona, it was almost not just quite, but almost immediate. But when it comes to in ring, I think I think I might give the slight edge, maybe pun intended, to Edge, just slightly like take over here and like Edge would be like right there. Because he had a wider move set. As again, but then even
It's also a
earlier Taker
smaller
could also.
guy.
I mean,
My
big
bad. It's
guys
not
can
my
have.
turn to talk. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not like don't talk, ma'am. But no, I keep. You see how hard this is for me, guys. I love them both so much, and they both mean so much to me. Um, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going with Taker only because of his namesake. Um, and the 2 out of 3 of the overall cultural impact, and his charisma came more in his commandment on the mic, whereas Edge could have better uh actual word saying, so to speak. I feel like whatever Taker said, you listened. Rather, I feel like we didn't really get Edge till became a top heel for the company, and that would be after Taker took a slight break a little bit, actually. But they're more actually when you think about it, they're a lot more evenly matched than you might think of all first up on paper. I'm gonna give the slight point advantage to Taker, although it kind of hurts. But not because I don't love Taker, but I love Edge too. Okay, I'm self-speaking.
So I'll go next. My vote is for the Undertaker. I like Edge a whole lot, but I just can't deny the Undertaker's presence. Like, he's a big guy. He throws people away like they weigh nothing. And even though the Edge probably had a better skill set in the ring, I mean, I don't remember him too much on the mic, and that could just be because I was fairly little during this era. This is when I started watching wrestling. But one of the many things I remember about the Undertaker is he didn't have to be on the mic. Like, the Undertaker would walk up and he'd just be like, and you'd be like, whoa. And I feel like, I don't know. I mean, especially in this era, we all know the Undertaker would win. The end. Because he's the Undertaker and he was undefeated. So, my vote's for the Undertaker.
Yeah, so of these two, I like Edge so much more. I think Edge is by far better on the mic. By far. But, like Nicole said, Taker didn't have to get on the mic. It was just his presence. I think Nicole also echoed that point as well. It's just his presence and the commandment in the ring that he had. I think in the ring as well. I think if we had to go by checklist, I think Edge would have more of the checks than Undertaker. But when it comes to like the legacy as well, talk about a company man. Granted, he started off in WCW, but this guy has basically been WWE, WWF. This is Taker, and I guess we're not only talking about WWE, WWF, but this guy, he was like the Sting. Like, that's why people always want to see that matchup, because WCW had Sting for the pretty much entire career until he went to TNA, and then we had Taker pretty much in WWF /WWE the entire time. So their careers kind of went parallel. And cultural impact, I think he lasts longer for Taker, because you could just mention Undertaker. Like, I remember my parents one time screaming, telling me to come into the room, and I came into the room, and they're watching an Indian movie, and Undertaker was in it. Like, he was the Undertaker in it, and wrestling the hero of the Indian movie. And it was kind of crazy. So, like, that's how much of cultural impact he's had, and how big of a name he is, and just his, people get goosebumps, and as soon as the lights go out, they know it's probably going to be Undertaker. Nowadays it could be Naomi, or the Bray Wyatt or whatever, but, if it's Undertaker, you hear that gong, then everyone's going to erupt, right? Because that just signals, like, just hearing that gong, even if he doesn't come out, people go crazy when they hear that gong, because they know it symbolizes something. And I think he's more of a symbol, and he's always been the symbol for the WWF, the WWE. Even though I think Edge checks off more boxes, I think you have one giant box, and that's the Taker box, and, like, I'd have to give it to Taker, even though I love Edge so much more. And like Delisha was saying, I think later on, Edge made the impact more when he became the rated R superstar, as opposed to when he first started as a vampire or a brooding guy in the rafters, then became a vampire, and then all that kind of stuff. But later on, he became more of Edge. He embraced his character and took off. But Undertaker has been throughout, and so that Taker gets my vote, even though I'm a bigger Edge fan. So, but it's unanimous. Our next matchup sees our third third rank. Oh, that was third rank. Sorry. Our final match of this first round for this era sees fourth rank Shawn Michaels against fifth rank Lita. How did Lita get higher ranked than Edge? That makes no sense whatsoever.
I don't remember. Oh, I think because in this particular era, more think of Edge with Christian maybe.
Yeah, I guess
where
even
though Lita had the Hardys, she did have her own like singles push, and let's just get right into it. No, it's Nikki's turn to go first, isn't it? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why she. I think weren't they right below each other though? Like, number was Edge.
6. She's
4. No. 6.
Yeah.
Edge was 6.
Lita's 5.
Yeah, so that's what gave her the slight edge. That's what gave her the slight advantage.
Wow.
And again, it was like this, guys. It was like this.
So, if I get to start, a big part of me wants to choose Lita because, I'm a woman and she's a woman, and I remember watching her in the ring during this time. But if I'm being honest, I think that my vote would go to Shawn Michaels, simply because I remember seeing him more often in the ring, and I remember watching him in the ring, and I remember when did he have to retire because of his illness, his sickness, or something?
No, he hurt his back in
Wasn't it
a casket. He hurt his back in a casket
That's what it
match
was.
with Undertaker.
That's right. I remember when he had to retire because of something that had to do with medical stuff. And again, I was a child, so like that was a big deal because I remember watching him and thinking that he was pretty great. And I remember seeing Lita, but unfortunately, like we said, women didn't really get to shine until the era of today. And I don't think if you put her in the ring with Shawn Michaels, I think that would be a great match because you put anybody in the ring with Shawn Michaels, and it was a pretty great match. But yeah, I just don't think she'd come out victorious. So my vote is going to be for Shawn Michaels.
All right. I'm not a Shawn Michaels fan. I was always a Bret Hart fan. I stood by Bret Hart after the whole Montreal screw job and all that, but the Yankees had Mr. October and Reggie Jackson. Then they had Mr. November with Derek Jeter. You have Mr. WrestleMania in Shawn Michaels. You can't talk about WrestleMania without Shawn Michaels. He was a great wrestler, great persona, great charisma in every aspect, and one of the greatest heel turns that we've ever seen. Literally with a heel turn where he super kicked Marty Jannetty and then threw him through the glass at the barber shop. One of the greatest heel turns in the history of WWF/E. Has to go to Shawn Michaels. Lita, like I said, and you guys said just now also, is that the women didn't really get much shine here. So I can't really, Lita was just, for me at this point, a valet for the Hardys until she had those Lita and Trish matches later on and stuff like that. But that's why Shawn Michaels also gets my vote. All right. So that's the first round completed for Group B. Now we will move to Group C. If it lets me scroll down. There we go. Group C, which is now the PG era. And our first match features ranked number 1, John Cena against AJ Lee.
Sorry. John Cena sucks. Okay. Enough. Against AJ Lee, huh? Well, I'm glad I don't have to go first. Whose turn is it? It's not mine.
All right. For the same reasons as The Rock, I'm going to say John Cena. That's it. Like I said, the women still didn't have a fair shake at this point. When we talk about wrestling now, it's hard with the number 1 ranks. They are number 1 ranks for a reason. They are their poster boys for their era, right? So whoever goes against them is going to have a tough time. I think Dusty Rhodes had the best chance so far. Compared to, Eddie Guerrero had to put up a good fight too, but when you compare John Cena, I hate John Cena too. I respect what he does for the company and the business, but I hate John Cena. And the fact that you can't, like I said, just like we hate Hulk Hogan, you can't talk about, when you say John Cena, everyone knows who John Cena is now, right? And AJ Lee, if I said AJ Lee, they'd be like, who? Probably.
Who?
Sure. Yeah.
What?
So, even though she is from New Jersey and does not live too far away from me back when she was here, I had to still go with John Cena. She had great abs, and she was hot as hell, and she's married to one of my favorite wrestlers, so...
Absolutely.
You guys always talk
all
about
them abs.
You guys always talk about abs, so I gotta finally bring up abs.
Yeah, no, I said
for the first
Flair.
time.
Now, maybe we should do an abs bracket. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Should.
No, win
Best
that
body
one.
bracket.
We are so
Sorry.
progressive, guys. But
I know, I'm sorry.
We
It's
are.
not my fault. I
We are
have
because
eyes.
we are going to include the women in it, so we are progressive.
That's right.
oh, much like Cal said, again, when it comes to these first seeds versus the 8th seed, it is kind of tough. But I guess to say I am voting for John Cena, but to make a case for AJ, I think her biggest cultural impact would be, as I call WWE Universe in-house, so to speak, because, or maybe it wasn't more appreciated until afterwards, but she really did try to make the women's division as top-notch as she could, given the parameters she was put in. She was one of the longest reigning, at the time, Divas champion of her time. She had one of the best mic skills of a lot of the women, past and present, to be fair. And again, I don't think she got much appreciated until she was gone. Unfortunately, as it happens sometimes, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And why I always clamor for her to come back, especially at this point in time when the women's division is so top notch. That's just to make a case for her. He probably does have better in-ring capabilities than John Cena, but that charisma, as a whole, his outwardly impact, again, probably one of the most recognized faces outside of WWE, and he does definitely have charisma on the mic, especially during his Doctor of Thugonomics stage, which he became known for in this era. So again, even though point-wise, it's definitely in his favor, even if you couldn't make a case for AJ.
My turn.
Yeah.
My vote is for John Cena. My vote is for John Cena he's John Cena. As much as I don't like to like John Cena, because I don't. He's the poster boy for this era, and everyone knew who he was. And I can appreciate the people who were pushed in order to get, the younger generation into wrestling. So, if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. And he's John Cena, so he wins.
Slater says that he missed out on wrestling from that era, so he's never really seen AJ Lee, so he's got to vote for Cena as much as he hates him. So pretty much a lot of people hate Cena, but they respect what he's done for the business, so...
Right.
All right.
That's what we're saying here, is that, I don't like Cena, but at the end of the day, he's such a huge reason why we have still so many wrestling fans, is because, and like Roman Reigns, guess who loved John Cena? All the little kiddos. So, well, and everyone who liked to see him with his shirt off, but that was it for me.
I still like John Cena. Just saying.
All right.
I just feel like Cal and I are hills in this, and Delicia's like, do hugs.
Ranked number 2
I like everyone.
Brock Lesnar against ranked 7, The Miz.
Ooh.
Hate this matchup. I hate that The Miz got matched up against Brock Lesnar.
I know.
Oh, good, because I think you start us off on this one.
Brock Lesnar. There's no denying that man is a beast, pun intended. Yeah, he is a monster in the ring. But you know what? We all know where he lacks, and that's his mic skills. Now, here's the thing with The Miz, is The Miz has been around for a long time for a lot of different reasons. One, he is a master on the mic. He takes that mic and he just makes you believe no matter what he is. If he's a heel, if he's a face, and he's so diverse. And you know what? The Miz is a fantastic wrestler. In the ring, he is money. Like, you put The Miz with anybody else, and he's going to make whoever is in the ring with him a superstar, because he's a superstar. And he just elevates all of the wrestlers around him, which is something I can't necessarily say about Brock Lesnar, which is why this is killing me. But it's Brock Lesnar, and I feel like Brock Lesnar, he has the ring skills. Obviously he does, because he's still wrestling. Whereas we all know that a lot of the time people like The Miz because, he's charismatic. And who doesn't like The Miz? he's that heel that you love to hate. And I mean, like, that is a talent. You know, my vote is going to be for The Miz. I think more people would like to see The Miz win than Brock Lesnar. If this was a real pairing in the ring and we were writing the script, I think that people would want to see The Miz beat the shit out of Brock Lesnar. So I'm for The Miz.
I love how you went with one vote and you talked yourself out of it, just like me.
I
in
did.
real life.
I did.
Oh.
This is what happens when I don't have notes.
Also, can we check on Tom? I feel like he just woke up out of a shiver and he doesn't know why.
What? What? Hello? Hello? Anybody? Can anybody hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, hello. Okay. Is it my turn?
Your turn. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So, I love both these guys. I love Brock because he's a beast, like you said. I love The Miz because he's The Miz and he's awesome. I watched The Miz back in real world as well. Then Tough Enough, and now what he is today. And I would talk about one of the great promos that Ultimate Warrior cut. Miz probably cut one of the best promos of all time in the it was called Smack Talk, when he actually really brought the heat with personal heat, saying being attacked for being a soft wrestler. But you know what? He's never gotten hurt. He's there. He doesn't complain. He always wants to be there for the fans. He will do anything for them because he genuinely loves the business. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you have someone who hates the business pretty much, that does it for the money kind of thing, but he does it well, right? He sucks on the mic, but he has a mouthpiece, right? He's great in the ring because he's a Greco-Roman wrestler, Olympic caliber almost, more of collegiate, Greco-Roman wrestler. He never got to the Olympic stage, I don't think, but he has great technical skills, but so does The Miz. Miz always has a clean match. You rarely see him not have a clean match. It might not be as hard hitting and as high flying. I mean, not high flying, but like crazy high risk intense moves as Brock Lesnar. But it's clean and it's entertaining. And on the mic, like I said, he's clean and entertaining. Creates great promos. Both are great with the universe because when Brock Lesnar's Miz hits, everyone erupts. Same thing with Miz always has either the great booing or the cheering. That's a testament to his character. He's like the Joffrey Baratheon or the Ramsay Bolton of the WWE, right? So that's my Game of Thrones references for you. But I think lasting appeal is The Miz because Brock. When people get fed up with Brock, they don't mind him going, right? Because they'll sing him out too. I was there at WrestleMania 20 when they sung him out of the arena, na 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 na, hey hey, goodbye, and they flipped everyone off and he left, and only to come back later. But I feel like if Miz has embraced the universe, he is you could see Miz just come out of the crowd, he's one of the fans who's in there with them, and then oh my god, let's give a fan an opportunity, and that's The Miz. He's engrossed both in the ring as well as the universe. So I would also have to give my vote to The Miz. As much as I love Brock Lesnar, I have 3, I think, Brock Lesnar shirts, 0 Miz shirts, but I love The Miz.
I was thinking this wasn't gonna be, again, us voting the same, but I was gonna do the same thing. Damn it. Much for what you just said, Cal. I think the biggest point that we can give Brock is in-ring capability because of his overall athleticism. But when you think of cultural impact, my first thought was that they both can sway the crowd to either dislike or like, but I think for different reasons. I think the way that he left the first time and how he's booked now leaves and left a bad taste in a lot of the universe's mouth, so to speak. But I feel like when you say you don't like The Miz, it's because he's doing his job as a heel. In the beginning, it was because, we're thinking, it's just this reality star thinking he can make it in WWE. But he's proved himself time and time again. Then when he went on that long IC title run, he really proved, and even in his championship run, you wanted to boo him because he was so good at making you hate him. So whereas Brock, I think people just don't want to like him. Not because he doesn't slightly deserve it at some point, but because of his persona. But as I said, I think as long as for as big as cultural impact, I do think that when you actually think about it, I do think The Miz has a bigger culture because, as we said, he's heard about this business and the fans see that, and they they like to reward that. When you show how much you love what you're doing and you are willing to put yourself out there, they reward that even when they're still booing you. They're like, I'm booing you because I hate what you're doing, but I understand. Um, and it definitely has more charisma. Um, and it's different from Taker, where I guess yes, Brock doesn't have to say anything, but when he does, you're just like, oh, you probably shouldn't. You should give that back to Paul. To where it's Undertaker speak, you're still commanded. So those 2 points alone, I'm gonna also give it to the Miz. A shocker for people. We chose Miz.
It's a first upset, first big upset, I should say. Now 4-5 upset, a 2-7 upset. And
Yes.
Slater was saying
so good.
He did
Convinced
dominate.
everyone.
He did dominate in UFC, but he left in poor taste when he left the first time at WWE. So I do agree with that. But you know what? As much as you guys talk badly about him, and I did too as well, about him on the mic, he do have some good mic work at UFC, because that's more like speaking from the heart and being real about real life stuff, as opposed to putting on a character, a persona. But all right, that brings us to our rank 3 versus 4 match. 3 versus 6. Rank 3 is CM Punk, and rank 6 is Batista. Is it me?
Cal, you starting this one?
Is it time for the voice of the voiceless to speak? Oh my god!
I think so.
You keep getting your favorites. It's awesome.
So Batista is a big dude, great in Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers. Mike, he's all right. I think he was better in Evolution than he was on his own. He did succeed and thrive on his own. He did a great job on his own, but I think his top-notch days were when he was in Evolution. I think, in my opinion, that's what made him who he is. I think when he split from Evolution, I think Randy Orton had a better career coming out of Evolution than Batista did. Remember, Batista started out as Deacon Batista. He was the guy who carried around a bucket outside the ring while Reverend Devon, or Brother Devon, whatever his name was coming out. And yes, he had an awesome theme song, I Walk Alone. I think when Will created me in WWE 2K, my entrance was Batista's entrance, because I love the thing he does, and then the at the end. That was awesome. But when we talk about greats, whether it be in the ring, on the mic, the pipe bomb promo, how much the universe was behind him, the next big revolution that happened, I think, after Stone Cold was CM Punk, right? After he won in Chicago, that was probably the loudest pops I ever heard when CM Punk came out. When he fought John Cena, people had the signs that said, if Cena wins, we riot kind of signs. They had that. But that was the loudest pop I've ever heard for a superstar to come in their own hometown. And after he won, he went to the audience, and the funniest thing is, yesterday night when I was watching In Your House pay-per-view for NXT TakeOver, they had the WWE ice cream bars. And that made me think back when CM Punk was like, why don't they bring back the WWE ice cream bars and have me on it? Because that's what I want. That's one of my demands to re-sign my contract. And now they have them with their ice cream sandwiches, not bars. And they don't have CM Punk on it. They have Macho Man, John Cena, and Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch or something. It's really weird. But anyway, it's just funny because it made me think of CM Punk again. He had great artwork on his shirts as well. Great, one-word things like the pipe bomb, and then him being the voice of the voiceless, the Second City Saint, all these great nicknames. He left because he felt he was not treated well. Obviously, you can see that for medical reasons, and him stuff that happened to him. People are, even after he left, talk about lasting impact. People will be screaming CM Punk, which would stop WWE promos. Vince McMahon would be in there, Stephanie McMahon would be in there, and they'd be like, "Are you done? Hello? Uh-oh. It crashed. I hope we're still there."
We're there. Disconnected.
We're there. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Did Vince disconnect you?
Yes.
Yes.
He heard me because I was chanting. I was chanting for CM Punk. Welcome, Bubba. How are you?
Oh my god, that was great.
So right when I was chanting for CM Punk, they Kill Switch Engage. That great theme song as well. I love that as opposed to his In Living Color theme song. But Kill Switch Engage. Every time I taught, before every presentation I gave in grad school, I'd play that song and say it's clobbering time. Man, I can't believe that Vince McMahon cut me off for that because my pipe bomb I was dropping on the company. But yeah, You guys know how much I love CM Punk. My vote's for CM Punk. I'm gonna grab some more water before Vince cuts me out again. But yeah, my vote is definitely for CM Punk.
Yeah, this one, I initially thought it was gonna be tough, but now thinking about it, it's really not that tough. Because as far as the three things, I feel like CM Punk probably wins in all three categories. I do think he has a slightly better in-ring capability. He's definitely better on the mic, especially in their peak heyday during this era. Actually, because I don't even know if Batista. I can't even remember. I can't even remember much of Batista promos except for the thumbs down to Triple H when he won the Royal Rumble. The first time, the second time when he got booed. And as far as cultural impact, again, if we're going in WWE Universe, it's definitely going to be CM Punk over Batista. Just because, like I'll say, he brought in another revolution of not only just promo work, but of wanting to be a better wrestler. Where Batista might have a better outwardly impact just because of thanks to him playing Drax and other movies that he's been in, and like never mind. But in putting himself into the more public eye by becoming into the movie sphere. But I do still think when we go in WWE in that ring, I think Punk gets all the check marks for those three categories over Batista.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my vote is easy. I actually picked CM Punk, and Delisha was like, Cal already has CM Punk on there. And I was like, I mean, like, obviously, great minds think alike is what we need to know about this. But, I mean, he's CM Punk. He was a master on the mic. You give it to him, and everyone in the crowd wanted to, rage against the machine, if you will. And, I mean, he was so iconic. I loved watching CM Punk. I was so bummed to watch him go because he was like, I get why he left, but when Batista exited the WWE, it was like, yeah, whatever. But when Punk left, it was a big deal for me. And I mean, like, I feel like it was a big deal for everyone in WWE. And I don't know, he was so outspoken, like, about, I know that that's part of his character. Like, his gig is, rage against the machine, but sticking it to the man. But I mean, like, that last closing, speech that he gave where he was sitting on the runway and I mean, like, the walkway, and he's just talking to the mic. I'm like, I don't know how much of that was scripted, but my God, I mean, CM Punk. He's the clear choice here, duh.
So that's three. Welcome, Bubba. Bubba brought all his history books of wrestling, so if anybody's gonna fact check us, bet Bubba will. All right,
Fantastic.
Our final matchup of round 1 of Group C, the PG era, pits number 4 Randy Orton against number 5 Chris Jericho.
No.
I feel like we're gonna say this is tough a lot, especially after we get through the initial round. Let's talk it. Let me talk it through it. As far as in-ring capability, I think, as much as I want to very hate to say, because you guys know my back and forth feelings on Orton, when he's on his game and he tries, I feel like they're probably evenly matched, and we might give Orton credit for, or maybe that personally I give Orton credit for. But I think I am going to. So they're pretty even match on there. Charisma, sorry, no contest. It's Jericho. His charisma and mic skills, started his career up until now. It's always top notch, and he's really good to be serious, and always really good for those one-line comedy zingers. As far as cultural impact, I think I'm also gonna give that to Jericho. So while Randy came in as the legacy player, so to speak, he did prove himself as he started getting more push to the top. But when he doesn't care, it shows. And I feel like Jericho has always cared, even when he's been put in the most promo or storyline that they could give him. He's always going to make the best of it and try to put on the most entertaining show the fans that he can. And also, he's a very successful musical artist, so he has that outworld, as I'm calling him, outworld for Impact as well.
And he
I'm
likes to
not
hunt
giving
down
it to-
ghosts. My turn,
He's
my
what?
turn. I want to go next. I said he also does paranormal stuff on like the Travel Channel.
Nicole, your camera's going in and out.
Yeah. Okay, I'll scoot in. I'm sorry. How about this?
Oh.
No, it's just like flashing. I think it's it's buffering. Like you might have to kick yourself and come back in.
Okay, well, as long as you guys can hear me, that's all that matters. So Randy Orton was my pick when I heard that CM Punk was already taken. And that's also because I was like, oh, I'm going to pick Chris Jericho. And then, of course, no, Cal already picked Chris Jericho, too. Was it you? No. Yeah.
Yeah, I might
I
have
don't
picked
know.
him.
Whoever it was. Yeah, but let's be real. Chris Jericho is the real GOAT, okay? I mean, no one can touch Chris Jericho. He's a 6-time world champion. He's won the WCW championship twice. He's been the world heavyweight champion 3 times. He's had a record 9 times as the Intercontinental champion. He's a 2-time United States champion. I mean, like, he's the 4th WWE Grand Slam champion. There's a reason why Chris Jericho wears GOAT on his ass, and that is because he is the real GOAT, and there's no contest here. My vote is for Chris Jericho. That's my piece. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
All right, I was making sure your camera stopped flashing. As soon as you finished, yeah, Vince McMahon, Muscle Man could be. Yeah, so I'm gonna take it back again, like I like to do with my old man self, and go back to when I first fell in love with Chris Jericho. He was a cruiserweight in WCW, and he had great cruiserweight matches. He was the Lionheart. Okay, that's why his move's called the Lion Tamer, but then it became the Walls of Jericho, it became Chris Jericho. But Chris Jericho in WCW was the Lionheart Chris Jericho. He was fantastic as a cruiserweight. He was the man of 1,004 moves. Okay, 1,004, because Dean Malenko's a man of 1,000 moves. He said, I'm going to one-up you. Not only going to one-up you, I'm going to four-up you and be the man of 1,004 moves. And he cut a promo in Cleveland, Ohio, I believe it was, where he brought out the old printer paper. If you remember what old printer paper looked like, if you're as old as I was, it's like one long thing and he had preparations to tear. Okay, so like it was just like one big, giant sheet that like you keep, and he read through it of all his moves. He kept saying, he said like arm bar like 4 times. It's like arm bar, and he went in alphabetical order, and he's like, you know, like arm lock, and he's like arm triangle, and he's like arm bar again. It was really funny. And then so they went to a commercial, and during commercial, this is how good of on the mic he was. When they went to commercial, he started insulting the city of Cleveland, so that the fans would get riled up and start booing him. So when they came back from the thing, they kept booing him. When he got to like level, he got to like, he got to like the C's of the alphabet for his 1,004 moves. So he was a genius on the mic as well. His charisma was great. In ring, I think he's far superior to Randy Orton. Randy Orton's not a slouch in the ring, but that's just a testament to how good Chris Jericho is in the ring. Not to mention all the accolades that Nicole mentioned, as 472 championships that he has. Felicia said in the chat, you can't think of champagne without thinking about him now. So just so much he's done for the thing. Not to mention he was the first ever undisputed champion. Right, so when he beat, and he won't let us forget, he beat The Rock and Stone Cold on the same night. Not many people can. I don't think anyone else can say that besides in like fatal 4-way match. But individual singles matches, he beat them on the same night. I don't think anyone can say that in the history of the WWE, WWF that I know of. Bubba could probably check his book and let us know. But I have to go with Chris Jericho. This is gonna be another upset for us, but not much of an upset.
Yeah.
The camera is being stupid.
Yeah, so you see that, right?
Yeah, I
do. You might want to just end the conversation and come back in like you did.
Okay.
It's like paranormal activity over there.
While you're doing that,
we're talking about Chris Jericho. Okay, I'll be back.
We're going to our final group, Group D, which is the current era. The current era features wrestlers from basically 2010 on, possibly. Let me look. I mean, some wrestlers have wrestled prior to that, but I meant in the WWE from 2010 on, even 2015 on, possibly. Our first matchup features ranked number 1, Seth Rollins against Adam Cole. Baby! I was waiting for you guys. No one said it. All right. So who's starting this one off?
It was me.
Not it. Yeah, you go.
Here we go. Who is Adam Cole versus who again?
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins.
From freaking Rollins. On paper, first thoughts, I think they're very much pretty similar. Of course, we had coming in at the time, the main roster with the Shield, making the impact that way. I believe after SummerSlam, insert year here, um, to make impact that we hadn't seen, I think, since the Nexus, honestly. So where they just came in and just wrecked shit. Whereas Adam came off of making his name on the independent scene into NXT and forming the Undisputed Era, who again immediately made an impact with that crowd. Yes, because they knew him previously. But again, you have to prove yourself in NXT still. And they what he has done with his group, they've been together since the inception all the way up till now. They have continually to make make the fans pay attention, so to speak. But let's go one-on-one. Mic skills. I think I'm probably gonna side with Cole. Because I feel like I pay attention to him more, and I feel, but with Seth, I better at it when he's a heel. Cole has been a heel since he started, so it's kind of tough to me to compare them 1-to-1, because Seth, when he's been in there longer, he's had a lot more downs for me when it comes to mics, especially when he was trying to do the face run. I just didn't believe it. In-ring skill, they are match par and par. They both have the technical skills. They can go top rope if they need it. They can do submissions if they need it. Oh man. But I think when it comes to that cultural impact, I think it's the leg up to Steph. Again, it could be because he's been doing it longer. But when he came in with the Shield, it was such a breath of fresh air to have this group just be portrayed as, we don't give a shit. We're just gonna wreck stuff for our own agenda, and to continually, given the parameters that he's been given, he got shot to the top as the WWE Golden Boy, to now trying to reinvent his heel persona to keep his everlasting impact. I think I'm gonna give it all. I think I'm gonna give it to Steph, because I feel like Cole still needs to. I think he still has some work to be done, especially as a singles person. Because I feel like Steph has proved that he can work in a group and out of a group, and we still have. I'd like to see how Cole would do a little bit later on without Undisputed Era by his side, but that's his character right now. But right now, just a little slight edge. He's saying that word. Shot every time I say it, you have liver damage by the end of the night. I want to give the slight advantage to Seth.
All right, may I go next?
Yes.
So what I was saying.
How I'm wrong?
Well, no. What I was saying in the chat is they are the same person. They even look alike. They are the same person. Mic skills, ring, everything. They are the same person. They both started in pretty much in stables. The Shield for Seth Rollins. Undisputed Era. Now, by far, I think Undisputed Era is so much better as a stable. They have their own, like, what do you call it? Like, I don't know how to say it, but, like, their own... It's like, everybody wants to do that. I don't even know how to throw it up, but it's like, whatever way they do the U and the E like that, I guess they do it. But it's probably mixed, reverse on the camera. But, you know, and they have this, everyone wants to go, boom, also when it comes in. Like, everything about them is so cool. They have the same person. And then for, you know, Seth Rollins is also the Kingslayer. I don't know if that's a cool nickname for him anymore, but now he's the Monday Night Messiah. He was the...
He was better anyway.
But, and then for him, when it's like, burn it down, when they used to come out for the thing. Like, they all have their own thing. Like, it's like, they're the same thing. Same thing. The only thing I could say is, even though maybe Adam Cole has been wrestling as long as Seth Rollins has, we haven't really known about it because it's been in the indies. So when we talk about Impact for WWE, it has to go. That's the only edge I can give to is Seth Rollins. So I'd have to give it to Seth Rollins. But otherwise, they're the same person. Like, if you threw them both in, I would say that the casual fan probably couldn't tell them apart. Except for the fact that Adam Cole says his name himself. So.
Right. Yeah. That's Seth Rollins is my pick for basically everything you just said. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, because they do. They look exactly the same. It's creepy.
You know me, I'm just trying to make cases for both of them and
Yeah.
go through the
I like Adam Cole better, and I love the Undisputed Era. They're the greatest stable.
I do
They're the
too.
greatest
They're
stable.
fantastic.
Greatest stable since probably Evolution, I think. I'm trying to think of any other stable there's been since Evolution. Shield was good. Shield was cool, but like Shield broke apart really too fast. I think things that have lasted.
The Shield was so awesome, but they fudged them all up too quickly. I
Yeah,
agree.
that's what I'm saying. Like if it talk about lasting impact, same thing. I could say the same thing for the Y family. I love the Y family. They're so cool, but it went too short. You know, like the testament to a good stable is that they've been in the stable for a while and it's a lasting impact. And Undisputed Era has been there. They debuted together. Delisha, we were there that night when they debuted in NXT, and like, you know, when first I think I think Joe said it was Red Dragon or whatever they're called came out with his Fish and O'Reilly. Everyone's like, oh, I wonder if Adam Cole's gonna come out because he's part, like, they know him to be with them kind of thing. Then he came out at the end, and then they joined him. So it was like, that's their debut was as a stable. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Seth Rollins is taking this one. That brings us to the next match of second ranked. This is our highest ranked female of the night. Charlotte Flair. Why is it going like that? There we go. Against 7th ranked Finn Balor.
Speaking of which,
Mm-hmm.
wearing my Balor shirt.
Let's go ahead and start it then.
Okay, I will. Gosh, well, first of all, I think this would be a fun match because there's abs all around. And sorry, not sorry. And I mean, Charlotte Flair, she's got that legacy working for her. We know that she was picked for like that body issue of whatever what is it? The ESPN magazine thing with that big magazine with the body issue. I don't know. And I mean, she can jump off the ropes. She's got okay mic skills. Between these two, I mean, I don't like Charlotte Flair. But I can't deny that she is a great wrestler. She really is. Of course she is. She's Ric Flair's daughter. Finn Balor, on the other hand, I love him because he's, you know, I mean, he was very indie and, you know, the Bullet Club and just, I loved past tense, you know, his whole, struggling with the demon inside of him type of thing. And I liked that Finn transformed, you know, and like he did, it felt to me at least that he had two actual different personalities, which was pretty cool. You know, I mean, like we obviously saw that with the Fiend also. So maybe it's just a thing for me where I just like when it's, look at these, here's my persona and then here's my alternate persona. But I really like that about Finn Balor. I think if you stick them in a ring, I'm trying not to let my bias of not liking Charlotte Flair get in the way, but to be honest, I feel like Finn Balor would win. I think fans like Finn better than they like Charlotte. You don't think so?
It depends what ring we're talking about. If it's an NXT ring,
true.
if it's an NXT ring, Finn Balor does not lose. And is Finn Balor going to be in the demon makeup? Because if he's in the demon makeup, remember his overall rating goes up like 4 points. But remember, don't forget, in regular WWE rings, Charlotte Flair never loses ever. So like that's what sucks. Welcome Entertained as well. Yeah, see, the demon has higher stats though. See, Entertained said it as well.
Right.
And Bubba brought up a great point too. Saying Bubba said that Charlotte Flair does try to emulate her father's same ring entrance and all that and ring character, but it's nowhere near as close as what her father did. That's what Bubba was saying in the chat.
Right. I don't know who I'm gonna pick. See, because I didn't specify if Balor was gonna be in his demon form. Shit, this was a flaw on my part, you guys. I'm so sorry because he was my pick.
It's not about them fighting each other. Who do you think is just better as a person, like as a character? You know, like who's able to come first in a greatest of all time list?
Charlotte Flair's. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, because she just her legacy alone being Divas champion, first women's, you know, champion, you know, getting the belt transition, being in, you know, WrestleMania, that first women's match, she was in it. You know, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to vote Charlotte Flair.
Who's next, Alicia?
Unfortunately, Finn is a victim to his circumstances. On even though we don't have to say it anymore, but at his time on the Raw SmackDown brand, as soon as he got the green light to go first push, got injured, and his
Thanks, Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Thanks. Ugh.
His booking never recovered. Is the best Balor of debuting on WWE television and up until now is on NXT, and he blows sharp.
There it goes.
Oh,
She got kicked again. She got kicked again.
Oh my God,
Vince
McMahon!
Vince McMahon's targeting all of us. First me, then you with your camera, and now Delisha. Vince McMahon
Oh
has.
my gosh. His reach is too much.
Do you hear me?
Mhm.
No. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, Discord keeps crashing.
It's Vince McMahon.
As I was saying, Charlotte is boring. Like as much as even when I wanted to, I cannot get on her side. Like she does not convince me to root for her. Even I know she's like a heel now, and even when she was a heel, it's just like I know I'm saying but in it was over, but it's like I just can't get on board. Like her promos does not translate to me, which is why I believe Finn has the better charisma. And I know he was on Raw and SmackDown for 2 or 3 years before he got put back down in injury, not excluding because I think that was like 9 months to a year out. She's definitely had way more TV time than him, but I feel like his NXT initial run and his NXT push now, his charisma is far more.
Cal.
I'm back.
Okay.
Okay.
It knows the smackdown I'm about to lay on their hero. So.
The in-ring capability, I think that's where she can hang because she does have like some fabulous athleticism as long as she doesn't try to do a moonsault. It's so I think it's tough because I think I just quite like by this much give her a slight advantage on in-ring athleticism. But I believe without the last name, I don't think she has that cultural impact. I think Finn has, especially with the Balor Club / Bullet Club, it's so much more international that you see him or you see him throw up that symbol, you hear that theme music, and you're like, shit, well, it's about to go down. Even when he's like a heels of heel and he's not even engaging the audience for his entrance that in the beginning it was so engaging, they still do it, and whether they applaud him so much that they will never let him be a full heel because they're just going to cheer him. So I think with the slight edge, because of a 2-to-1 count, I will give it to them. And again, there's not any personal bias against Charlotte. I don't have a personal bias against Charlotte. I think as a character, I just never connected. That's my only personal issue with her. All
right. Well, now we're gonna go to someone who does have a personal bias against Charlotte. Me, because I hate the Flair family, and I've always been saying it. They've been handy to everything, and like I think Bubba said in the chat, she's everything. She's gotten everything because of her father's name, pretty much. I won't take away though from her is she does have great in-ring abilities, which Delisha mentioned earlier as well. That's where she does have the leg up on Finn Balor, possibly by a little bit. But other than that, like she's a worse copy of her father, except looks-wise. Looks-wise, she's so much better than her father. But like her charisma is not as good as her father's. Her mic skills are not as good as her father's. And everything but she is the golden child now. Like, like what John Cena used to be, she is now. She's like won the first of everything. whatever, blah blah blah, like, you know, everything you could say, like, and you could hear me go back to every single AfterMat, and every time she's won, you could hear me complain about it because I don't like her, and I want to vote for her because, like, she deserves it. But then, like, when Delisha talk about Finn Balor, like, the cultural aspect of, like, New Japan and all that, the Balor Club and all that kind of stuff, just his entrance too is everyone wants to do like dun dun dun, and then they do, like, you know, that everyone does that thing, and you know, and now at the end of the match when he goes that, like, it's really cool. Like, he's just really cool. Abs on both hands. They both have abs, right? I guess.
They both have pretty good abs. Finn's wins.
But, you know, like, I just think Finn's been doing it longer. That's why he's gonna get the vote from me. So we got a 2-1 vote in favor of Finn.
How dare you? I said first, and then you guys talked me out of it.
I didn't even talk yet. I didn't even get to talk yet.
Betrayal!
I didn't even talk yet. I was the last one to talk. I hate Charlotte.
I heard so much.
All right, that brings us to our rank 3 versus rank 6, which is a battle of friends, I guess. We got Becky Lynch, rank 3, against rank 6 Sasha Banks.
Is that me again? Go
Yeah.
first. Okay. It's maybe one of the more or most evenly matched ones, or ones that we evenly matched ones we had in a while. Let's see. In-ring capability. Again, I think they're pretty evenly matched. They both started out in the same freaking wrestling class, or introduction class. I don't know. Am I saying that right? Introduction class, freshman class, so to speak. They both kind of had a shaky start with in-ring moves. I will say I believe Sasha might be the more athletic one, but she also takes bigger risks, such her small body, which gives us anxiety every time. I think I'm gonna give the slight advantage. I'm trying to change that. Slight advantage to Sasha for in-ring ability, but again, like last time, it's not by much. Charisma, mic skills. Whew. Again, tough because Becky in the last year or two has really upped her game in delivering great promos and a reason to either get behind her or not when she's doing heel or face work. So I think I'm gonna give the point there. And so now it comes down to cultural impact. I mean, Sasha has the culture moment of being a person of color, and one of the few that gets the big shine and worldwide name, so to speak. Also, her colored hair is becoming iconic now. And those ball sunglasses. I actually see. I wanted to do it too. I also see a lot of those sunglasses being worn in other like sports arenas and stuff like that. With those, I mean, it's usually by the kids, but still, they're being worn.
My friend has those.
And she's about to get more international fame by being in The Mandalorian coming up. But that's the future. But Becky really turns it around again when it came to putting herself on the map. Again, everyone loves the underdog, and she put a movement on her back and
became 2-belt Becky.
It because of fans getting behind her, like almost universally, like, no, that's our champion. That's the person we're gonna push, and you're gonna make it happen, or we will riot. Type of backing, and you have a whole fan base, not just a section of the crowd, but the whole crowd, in every arena that you're going to, to get you to the title contention. You're getting the belt, you get 2 belts, and even when you lost it and get it back, they're still behind you to this day. I have to give it to Becky for that reason. Again, not to say that Sasha didn't have that impact as well, especially when she came the call up, so to speak, on NXT. But I feel like Becky, while in the beginning would get overlooked, she really took the fans on her back and were like, we're going to do this. And as nonstop for the last 2 years.
Well, speaking of fans, in the chat, we have people saying, Bubba is saying that they're pretty much similar, but Becky's more visceral. And Slater's saying Becky takes it because of her accent, which I agree with as well. For me, though, they are pretty much identical, like you guys were saying. Pretty much everyone's saying it because they came up together, right? However, when it comes to, I think their one distinction comes in the universe, the WWE universe. I feel like the WWE universe has
I think at Slater's that Becky has his accent.
the WWE universe embraced Becky more than they have ever embraced Sasha, ever. Like that's why I think the only difference is that's why my vote's also gonna go to Becky as well. Even though Sasha, remember at one point was my number one WWE wife, but then finding out that she was not really a good person in IRL is what made her drop out of my list completely. So I feel like Becky would probably be really cool in real life. So that's what I say. She's really more embraced the WWE universe compared to Sasha, and that's where my vote's gonna go to Becky.
I mean, we all know where I stand. I don't even have to say it. We all know that I think Becky is a huge reason why women have been elevated. Not that I'm saying Charlotte wasn't, because she was the beginning. Becky is I have taken your torch and I am running full speed out, and that's just how it is. And I do think that it's because of the way fans have reacted to Becky Lynch in the last year or two is the reason why we're getting so much more of a spotlight, so many more women moving up and getting more of the women's division, because everyone loves Becky Lynch. And I mean, they loved her when she was a face. They love her when she's a heel. She's amazing. And there's just nothing more that can be said about it. And, I mean, other than the fact she's like engaged to Seth Rollins. Now she's what?
Oh no, I forgot to mention about Charlotte Flair. The best thing about Charlotte Flair is Cien Andrade Almas.
True. That's so true. Oh my gosh.
Welcome back, Will. So I guess we're all going Becky.
So yeah, Becky it is.
I've been talking about great promos all night. I can't forget the most recent one where she told Asuka, like, the last match, you don't have this, and Asuka's screaming at her in Japanese like, that's mine. Becky's like, this is more than just a contract, and she opens it, the title's in there, and she goes, yeah, you go be a warrior, I'm gonna go be a mother. And that was a really touching moment because it's so real.
It really was.
And that's what Bubba was touching on, and how it's so visceral, And and the only person who ever understands Asuka when she talks is Will, because Will speaks Japanese fluently, but no one else understands what she's saying. I once in a while I get things that she's saying when she yells at Alexa Bliss, but that's about it. But yeah, so Becky's gonna take that one. And I think we're up to the final match of the first round, which seeds number 4, AJ Styles against number 5, Roman Reigns. I guess it's my turn, right? Yes, because it's one of my guys again, AJ Styles. I don't even have to talk about this one because everyone knows how. I mean, Roman Reigns is all right. I think the universe hated him until I hate to say it, but when he got talked about his cancer, and then everyone loved him again, kind of thing. They liked him when he was on the Shield, and they're like, wait for that big guy to like break away from the Shield. They can't wait. And when he did, they didn't realize that like the mouthpieces of Ambrose and
Rollins
were the reason why that but.
Both says he does not speak to.
Yeah. When you talk about oh man, AJ Styles, what can you say? We don't. If you guys know, we don't really talk about TNA on the show, but I fell in love with AJ Styles on TNA. I loved him. He was, like I say, only for him, he was phenomenal on that show. And dude, I can't get over how great he was. He was the best thing about that show, and I loved him, and he brought that to this company. He brought everything about it, and I know I don't watch New Japan that much and all that, but he's apparently great in that as well. He's just the perfect package of a wrestler if there ever was one. Great on the mic, amazing in the ring. The universe loves him. You can't. There's nothing bad I don't think you could say about AJ Styles. Nothing bad. I can't even think of a bad thing to say about AJ Styles. He puts his heart and soul into everything. He really gets into character for everything, and he brings out the best in every person's match that he's in with every person. So this is runaway for AJ Styles. Probably the most lopsided runaway. I mean, besides like having Rock go against China and like Cena go against whoever he went against, AJ Lee. For a ranked 4 versus 5, I think this is the most runaway we have. Him and Samoa Joe ruled in TNA. I agree. Yes.
Yeah, Roman Reigns' downfall is WWE trying to push him as the next John Cena, and that
Or the next Rock.
or as their next golden boy, so to speak. And as you know, when you try to do that, the fans will just rebel with spite. So I feel like he didn't get the chance to shine the way he could. I think so. Again, in this era, both when he debuted and up into now, I feel like a lot of it when it became the forced promo that they made him do, it weakened his mic skill ability. Because before COVID happened, he was really getting really good on the mic, and I think it was because he was speaking more from himself. I think he was having the ability to be more of himself, and he was previously when he had to be the top dog, so to speak. So yeah, that kind of shifted where AJ is just miles ahead of him on the mic. Also, in experience from AJ as well. In-ring capability, again, we'll have to give it to AJ. Again, being able to move in different platforms, whether he can be the high flyer that you need him to be, he can be that technical on the mat wrestler, as I saw with last week's SmackDown. That's what, and just prove it out overall, but really because it was him versus Drew Gulak was a type anyway, and he can be the submission person that you need him to be as well. Whereas I feel as Roman can just be the power structure wrestler. Again, he could probably do more, but as with giving him to do, we see him as the power structure one. And then overall impact, maybe a little overall WWE impact. I think that might be a little more even because a big portion of Reigns' fan base is that younger up and coming generation, and there's a lot of them. Like, they love him, whether you like it or not. They love him, but also with AJ, we know what he's been capable of in other.
Oh, there he goes. Talk about the goals. While we have this break, let me go ahead and address the chat. Bubba's saying Samoa Joe and AJ Styles have been having great matches in TNA. TNA's been brought up a lot today, but yeah, that's where we saw AJ Styles really, blossom, as well as Samoa Joe.
Discord does not let me.
Yeah, it's just been crashing for everyone lately, especially during COVID because a lot of people are using it as a speaking platform. Will says that Roman's downfall is not his own fault, which is very true. And AJ can do no wrong. Yeah. I'm just going to the chat since you cut out. And then Slater was saying the moment with the "My name is Joe" really broke his heart, which is true. That's what I said. That he really got his backing again from that moment. All right, sorry, Alicia, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So just saying, with overall impact, with other fans knowing him from other companies when he came into the WWE, he had a built-in fan base that just escalated as he put in more years here at WWE. So if we're just going strictly off the criteria, I think AJ's got him 2-1.
I mean, I don't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
My vote's for AJ.
All right, so AJ's unanimous. Yeah, Brock broke the streak. Not AJ. I'm not Roman. But yeah, he did get too much too fast. All right, so that completes round 1. Took us 2 hours, so I guess now we'll probably go a lot faster now since we've made a lot of arguments already for our each category. So let's try to go a little bit more thorough, be less thorough.
I agree. I'm tired.
Right. So go back to Group A. We talk about the classic era. We have Hulk Hogan against Bret Hart.
God damn it! I think Hulk Hogan would take it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going first. Hello. Hi. I'm gonna say Hulk Hogan.
I keep going back and forth between cultural impact and in-ring ability in my head because I think Bret has a slight edge on. There goes again. Take a shot. Has the slight advantage on mic skills. Um, I,
Well, but they both have legacy. Like that's
I
the
know
hard
that's
part.
the thing.
So
That's where I keep going back and forth on. They both have that legacy cultural impact factor. They're both really big names, but I
can
think.
I since this is
Oh
like
yeah, go ahead.
my area of specialty, maybe I could say something and maybe it'll help you guys sway which way you want to go. Because like there's no doubt that Hulk Hogan, like we've been saying all night, despite the fact how we feel about him, he has been that person during that era. However, when he left, who took the mantle? Bret Hart. So the torch was passed to Bret Hart. So this is where it kind of melds over. And now when we talk lasting legacy, I feel like Bret Hart's hasn't really been tarnished through now, whereas Hogan's has. Hogan did take the reins and make WCW great as well with the NWO and all that. But as singles competitors, I think Hogan, once he left WWE, he lost a lot of his shine. Even though he saw that star power, he did have the NWO as a crutch, right? Like the NWO, that group, which is another great stable, they thrive together as opposed to being individuals. Whereas Bret Hart shined as an individual after he took the mantle from Hulk Hogan at the end of that era and carried it through till he left for WCW as well, and then joined that aforementioned stable. So yeah, Hogan did get banned recently from AEW. We were talking about that. We didn't really want to vote him past the first round, but it would be not right because he was that era, Bubba. That's why we took him past the first round. However, this is where I see this is the person he passed the torch to. I would have to vote for Bret Hart because he carried it and held it as a solo character compared to Hogan, was more of an NWO person from that point on.
Well, and I did think about that, so that's a fair point. Which is great because I don't want to vote for Hogan anyways. Bret Hart it is.
Delisha?
Give it to the Hitman.
Yeah, well, I'm out. I would be outvoted whichever way I even voted. But yeah, I think you did sway me for Bret because again, they are kind of like neck and neck when it comes to a lot of the different categories. Again, like I said, this era is more your expertise. Because I wasn't watching at the time, so I don't have that going back and watching old matches factor going in as well.
Will said Hogan ruined TNA, and Slater said that Hogan also ruined the NWO. Yep, Bret carried it and then passed it to Stone Cold. Exactly. That's what we're talking about. The torch getting passed on. When the First Blood match and the I Quit match or whatever they had, was I Quit match. That's what we're talking about. Passing the torch from generation to generation. So we're going with Bret, right?
Yes.
Keep hearing that child yell Bret in my ear this whole time.
All right. Our final match of the semifinals for this category is the biggest rivalry in WCW history: Ric Flair and Sting.
Ooh. Oh man. Shit.
Should I go with my historical lesson again? And then
Yep,
Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
you should.
So, as everyone knows, I love Sting. His legacy is carried on. So has Ric Flair's, right? It is really hard for these two because Ric Flair is more of a cultural icon in the wrestling business than Sting is, but Sting is not. He is a legacy nonetheless. His career was cut short due to injury. Thanks, Seth Rollins, once again. But I don't know. For me, this is a close one because Ric Flair is historical. Like, he's a historical figure. I had to say Ric Flair for historical reasons, but Sting's legacy is lasted longer only due to age. But then it was cut because of injury. But I think due to legacy, that's the only thing that tears him apart. I think Ric Flair gets the slight edge, as Alicia would say, in this category for me. Even though I love Sting so much and I hate Ric Flair has... See, that's the thing, Slater. I hate Ric Flair too, but I'm trying to be an unbiased journalist and vote logically, and that's why I vote for Ric Flair. I hate Ric Flair. I hate the Flair family. I love Sting, but I have to go unbiased and vote Ric Flair here.
I don't want to say it, but yeah, I mean, even going into this, I would love to see Sting win. I think that would be fantastic. But yeah, I would have to agree with my cast. I'd cast my vote for Ric Flair as well.
And Will's trying to make a point that, and I do agree. Will says that Sting he passed it to Ric Flair. Ric Flair passed it to Sting when Ric Flair went back to WWF. At the point,
That's true.
But Sting never really got the limelight. Like how when I made the point of Bret Hart had the limelight in WWF at that time compared to what you're talking about. Ric Flair passing it to Sting. Sting didn't get the same limelight until he came back as the Crow Sting against the NWO Hogan kind of thing. So he wasn't the same passing of the torch in that aspect.
I think the biggest two factors that I believe gives it to Flair is I think his overall charisma will be a little bit higher. And again, you can't negate his overall legacy impact on the WWE universe. They love Sting, but for the longest time, I mean, for background reasons that we don't need to get into, he wasn't there. Whereas Rick, and he once, even though it was WCW and then coming into WWE, a lot of that still people remember him, all aspects. Again, just a cultural lasting legacy. So I guess I will have to give it to Rick too. Although Sting, personally, between the two, would be my favorite.
I agree. Sting is and was WCW, but he didn't have, like you said, because of Hulk Hogan, he didn't have the same time to shine, and that's a shame because Sting was fantastic. All right, that takes us to the next Group B semifinals. Our first match is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels. I'm gonna let you guys go first. I'm gonna run to the restroom while you guys discuss, because I know who my vote's for.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels. HBK versus the Rattlesnake. I think in terms of mic skills, we have to give it to Stone Cold. That's not to say that Michaels isn't great on the mic, because he is. I feel like captivation of audience plus the ability to go off the cuff and those zingers that he would have, I feel like his is more engaging and memorable for Stone Cold. In ring ability, I think I would give it to Michaels, especially in his heyday of this era. He is just fascinating to watch in the ring, and there's a reason why this day people chant one more match from him, is because they love to see him work in the ring. Even though, of course, due to age and ring rust, so to speak, he wouldn't be able to perform as he did, because none of us can work as great as we did back in our prime. And as far as overall impact, this is a little bit more tougher. I think I might have to give it to Stone Cold, because as what we said earlier about his being the first that we could think of in this WWE sphere of taking on the corporation and just taking that attitude, so to speak. You think of Attitude Era, you're thinking of Stone Cold and his persona of what he portrayed between his back and forth with Vince McMahon. I know Shawn and DX had it with Vince too, but I feel like Stone Cold just did it a little bit better. Oh, this much, Stone Cold. This much.
Did Nicole go?
You know what? I'm gonna pick Stone Cold simply because he's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we said going into this at the very beginning, when I was like, everyone knows Stone Cold. He's got, it's his Austin 316, and I mean, he was awesome. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So yeah, I mean, for me, between these two, it's definitely gonna be Stone Cold.
Yeah, so it's not even, I don't have to argue for anything. It's definitely Stone Cold for me as well. I think comes to all-time matches, great matches, maybe Shawn Michaels has the edge there. But Stone Cold, don't get me wrong, has had some great matches as well. It's just, ultimately, I think Stone Cold for this era is the winner. For this match, at least. Because the next match features The Rock and Undertaker. Obviously, we know where mine's going. We're talking about longevity. Obviously, Undertaker, but Undertaker has definitely dipped off. Now we have to create a new match type just for him, where we have pre-recorded matches that are very film-like, like an episode of TV, as opposed to an actual wrestling match. Because we saw how his last 2 matches have gone, not very well. The Rock, I feel like if you step back into the ring, he wouldn't miss a beat, like as we saw before. Mike, definitely, even with Undertaker's presence on the ring, Rock, he just steps into the ring and everyone's just like, Rocky. He doesn't have to say anything. He just looks around and smells the atmosphere. Nothing, I don't think, can compare to Rock's charisma. Anyone in the history of wrestling, I think. And trust me, I've been there since, like I told you, Greco-Roman times. So, like, when David wrestled the angel Gabriel, I was there for that in biblical times, man. So nothing compares to The Rock's charisma in wrestling. Ring worked as well. I think Rock is better in the ring. Connection to the universe as well. As soon as you hear that, if you smile, just like you hear the Stone Cold Shatter, everyone's off their feet, you know. And you can't have the greatest hero without the greatest villain, or the counterparts. If we're moving Stone Cold on, we can't go without moving The Rock on as well.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Although I think his biggest like checkbox is that cultural impact, but it might be because of his charisma. So they kind of go hand in hand. That is, you think of wrestling, you're thinking of The Rock.
That's not The Rock's fault,
like you said.
He's saying Nia Jackson's Rock's fault. That's not The Rock's fault.
Yes.
I was actually trying to type that, and then it became my turn. Yeah, his name, fortune, persona, charisma is. I feel like the best person who could match up with him, Mike-wise, would be Chris Jericho. And as we've seen them 2 in the ring, you could just watch them all day. But yeah, and like you said, he's been out of the game for for a good while. But if he were to come back tomorrow night and be in the ring, he's such an amazing shape and he loves this business. He might have been away from it, but he loves this business. So, yeah, and he could still work it. So yeah.
Yeah, Will is saying that I was about to say that, Will, and then you wrote it. Will is saying everyone looks up to the Undertaker, and he's the locker room leader, which I agree with. Even Triple H said that in a recent interview I think he did with TMZ, saying that no one hated Undertaker. Like, there's times where people didn't like each other backstage or in the locker rooms, but no one disliked Undertaker. They respected everything he's done for the business, and no one's ever disliked him, I don't think. That's at least what Triple H said. And another fun fact he said during the interview is the reason why the People's Elbow was created was to make Undertaker laugh. It was a match, it was a tag team match. I think it was Stone Cold and I think Undertaker against Triple H and The Rock, and they're all trying to make Undertaker laugh. That's why Rock did the most absurd move ever, and that's why the People's Elbow was created. He is the big dog in the locker room, I agree on that, but I don't think anyone compares to The Rock when it comes to when we talk about all the criteria we're trying to talk about. Alright, so that brings us to our next era. PG era, which features number 1 seed John Cena against number 5 seed Chris Jericho.
I'm gonna say Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho is the be all end all. I already said that he's the real GOAT, and even if you put him in the ring with John Cena, who is the poster boy, Chris Jericho is gonna reign supreme because he's fucking Jericho.
As much as I'm the maybe not the lone Cena lover, but as much as I love Cena, he doesn't compare to Jericho. Like she said, he's the GOAT for a reason. And I want to pop the bubbly with him.
And I will make it unanimous. Well, Will says Cena has a better legacy, but does he though? Because
I don't think so, Will.
If you're here earlier, Will, you would have heard Nicole list every single accolade of Chris Jericho, and it is a damn long list. And
it is.
And I feel like wherever he's gone, he's done very, very well. very, very well. So I have to give it to Chris Jericho as well. All right. Brings us to our second match of this, which is The Miz, which is our biggest upset of the night against CM Punk. Oh boy!
This looks so hard. They're both so great. You know what,
So,
Cal? You take this
yeah.
one first.
Oh boy.
I'm
So
No,
I
Bubba, they
know.
did not.
I think.
Oh, you corrected yourself. Never mind. I was like, no, Bubba, that was not true. Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I think this has to go to Legacy, and I know that I said it where people are chanting CM Punk's name to this day, while people are in the ring. But you know what? You know who is in the ring at that time? People like The Miz. The Miz. He still shows up to this day. He loves the business. He wrestles safe. He wrestles smart, and everyone knows I love CM Punk. I have the most CM Punk shirts of any of my wrestling shirts. I walk out to CM Punk's music when I go to my softball matches, when I go to my teaching things. I love CM Punk. I love him so much. I'm the voice of voiceless on the show, but Miz is here today. He's still here. His passion is for this business and love for this business is second to nobody. I feel like if you talk about who loves business, the first person I'd say is The Miz. And he's like every one of us. And a lot of people say we are those fans that, like, a lot of the wrestlers will say, oh, we were fans, we were watching wrestling, and now we're wrestlers, it's their dream come true. But for Miz, I believe it. Because he was on the real world holding a championship belt. Like, he lived it. Like, he loved it and then lived it every day of his life in real life till he went to the business. So I have to give it to The Miz.
Go ahead, Delisha. You go ahead.
Because I was going to vote for Punk. So I feel like that would be a good opposing factor there. Not because I don't think Miz deserves it, but I do think in the short amount of time that he's been there, Punk that is, he has created himself a legacy. And again, it still has a lot more in him. So I'm excited to see what he's doing, whether with tags or singles. But I think charisma and overall audience culture impact does play a big part, because I think I honestly think they're evenly matched in the ring. People might not agree with that, but I think given the go ahead, they both will they could put on a 5-star match too. But I do think CM Punk has these slight higher charisma points, so to speak, and like we say, till this day, Miz is there. Till this day, fans want to see CM Punk in a ring again. And the only reason why he's not, because he got so turned off by the culture of his time in the backstage. But I would give my vote to CM Punk.
So that makes me the tiebreaker, and this is incredibly hard. Like I said, when we came to this, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love both of these wrestlers. I think they're both fantastic. I mean, my wife's favorite wrestler is The Miz. I mean, she loves him. And I love The Miz too. The Miz was my pick. And I think Punk is really popular, and I think that, the WWE universe really does love him because he is, Rage Against the Machine, stick it to the man. But, I love The Miz, and I love that The Miz loves wrestling. And I love that, no matter what era he's in, he's always giving it his all. He's got his heart in it. For me, I'm going to vote for The Miz.
Miz is our lowest seed to move on again. All right. That brings us to our final era, the current era, which features Seth Rollins, number 1, against number 4, AJ Styles. Delisha there, or she's muted? Delisha, you're muted and your mic is off and your camera's off.
Yeah, she said she'd be right back.
Okay, so I guess you want to start out?
So it's yeah, sure. Seth Rollins, AJ Styles. Is that the first one we're doing? Mm-hmm. Okay, so okay, this one's gonna be a little tough. I think that Seth Rollins I think that he's a great wrestler. I liked him in the Shield. I like seeing him come up. But God, AJ Styles, he came into the WWE just guns ablazing. And I remember being so captivated by him and watching him wrestle. I mean, I have his vest in my closet because I love his attire.
Don't you have his gloves too?
What?
You have his gloves
I
too,
do have his gloves. Yeah. AJ Styles for Halloween one year. I wore the ab shirt and then the vest and have his gloves, and I was all like, boom. You know, I mean, I think for me, I'm going to go with AJ Styles. He's an all-around fantastic wrestler. He's got a huge following. He's fantastic in the ring. He's great on the mic. I mean, he's got everything that you want in a wrestler. And, you know, I wish he was the poster child for WWE instead of Roman Reigns, because my God, does he deserve it.
I was going to say even more than that, not him being the poster, I think he's the poster child of wrestling. Everywhere he's gone, he's been fantastic, just like Jericho as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you know wrestling well enough, AJ Styles is that, like, he can definitely be the poster child of wrestling. Amazing look, amazing in-ring style, and technician. You know, great on the mic. There's nothing he can do wrong, I don't think. A lot of the chat said earlier, he had classics in TNA. So yeah, my vote would also go for AJ Styles. He's just like Seth Rollins, but he's been doing it longer and better.
Right, for sure. I agree.
Delicious. Is that Delicious that said agreed?
Yeah. Cool. Moving right along.
Wait, Delicious, did you say agreed?
Hmm?
Okay, because your camera's not coming up, so.
Oh.
Alright. Final match of the second round features Finn Balor against Becky Lynch.
Hurting me. You're hurting me inside. I'm dying. These are two of my favorite wrestlers. How dare you? I don't want to take point on this one.
Alright. For the only sake...
I'll go ahead while I get my video back up.
Alright, for the sake that I think... as much as it hurts to say this. As much as it hurts for me to say this, Charlotte Flair is better than Becky Lynch. And Finn Balor beat Charlotte Flair. Therefore, I feel like Finn Balor should beat Becky Lynch.
You know, I hate that logic.
But it's like sound logic.
Oh, it is. And that's why I don't like it. You don't get to come in here and make sense. How dare you? Because, I mean, technically speaking, Charlotte Flair is better than Becky Lynch. I just am tired of watching Charlotte always win everything. Yeah. So, by that logic, I mean, you're right. It should be Finn Balor, because if he can beat Charlotte, he can beat Becky.
And he's been doing it longer, I think, on a more constant basis, where Charlotte's fame has come recently since the Facebreaker incident. I'm not saying she was bad the entire time, but ever since Nia Jax broke her face, that's when she blew up. Yeah, Becky. Yeah,
right.
So.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean... I'm fine with this.
Delisha?
Yeah, I could get on board with Charlotte. Although I think Becky has her beat in the charisma aspect. But she's still making her cultural impact, whereas Charlotte kind of already invented hers so far. So just for that slightness, I have to give it to Charlotte for what she has done, or even yes, we know it's all booking, whatever, what have you. Right. But for what she has accomplished in a short amount of time, and she does have a good in-ring ability, because no one could ever doubt her that part.
So Will says...
Wait, sorry, we're doing Balor. My fault. Because you mentioned Charlotte.
No.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
Because we were talking about how Finn beat Charlotte, therefore he should be able to beat Becky.
Sorry, I think when my camera was still going out, I missed the matchup. Sorry, Will. Sorry, guys in chat. It's Charlotte versus everyone. That is true. That is true. Actually, yeah, I think I would give it to Balor then. Actually, for those same reasons. While right. Becky is still making her cultural impact still. And of course, that's going to take a backseat right now while she's growing a child. I do think that what Finn has done in a short amount of time, again, still that he's had, while that does come a lot from his NXT and international fan base, it's still a lot. He is the first universal champion, whatever that title name was. He still won it. That's still an accomplishment. And I think he's a 2-time NXT champion, and he has put on a lot of great match work. and consistent match work as well. So I'll give it to Balor.
All right, and one thing Will said in the chat is that the WWE ruined Finn Balor, but did not ruin Becky. I don't know if I would agree with that, only because that the men's roster is more vast and viable compared to the women's roster. If you look at the women's roster, they've only pretty much did a carousel of 5 wrestlers, namely the 4 horsewomen and Alexa Bliss have been in the spotlight the entire time. Maybe not throw Nia Jax once in a while in there when she's not injured or injuring other people. Whereas in the men's roster, you have a lot more names that they could throw into the mix that have been rotated around compared to the women's roster. And I'm not saying the women's roster is worse. I'm saying just by the number of available options that are pushed. So that's why you can't say Becky's been pushed more when you have a team of 8. Like, what's more successful? What's going to get more chance of success? A pool of people who have 8, you have a 1 in 8 chance. As a pool of people 64, you have 1 in 64 chance. That's why you can't really compare the two. All right.
Okay.
That brings us to
classic.
That brings us to the finals of each round of each thing, and then we'll get to the final 4. So the winner of this is moving to the finals, the final 4. So get ready. Here's the Elite 8, as they would call it. Completely original term. For the classics, classics, we have number, I think, 4 or 5 seeded Bret Hart against number 2 seeded Ric Flair.
We gonna vote now?
I'm ready to vote. I know who I want. I mean, I know who I want, but I know who I want to vote for as well.
Hey, Nick.
Oh my god. You know what? I'm gonna say Ric Flair. I think I'm gonna give my vote to Ric Flair, which hurts me inside, but even though both of these families have long legacies, and that, I mean, they do, we still have, their daughters are literally still wrestling. I mean, like, the woo is still around, and, I mean, like, everyone knows who Ric Flair is. It's hard to say, oh, well, I mean, not even not wrestlers know who Ric Flair is. So I'm going to say Ric Flair is my vote.
For me, I think they're very similar, like I said. Both wrestling family dynasties. However, I think Bret Hart has been doing it, I don't want to say longer, because if you talk about, from a certain year to a certain year, that's longer. But I mean, Ric Flair's taken time off and stuff like that, whereas Bret Hart's been consistently doing it, and they got injured and come back and has done it again. That's why I would vote for Bret Hart, because he's been doing it more consistently over that prolonged period of time compared to Ric Flair. So I'd have to give it to Bret Hart there.
Ooh, Delisha, you're the tiebreaker.
Position. I think that it pushes it over the edge for me. Not for me, but in terms of the 3 criteria we're trying to keep them to. I think that I'm going to go with Bret. They both have that legacy, and while Flair might be more recognizable to a lot more people, I feel that Bret may have the more lasting legacy through not only what he's done, but what his family has also produced. And whole, like, again, we know how much they care about business. Again, not saying that Rick doesn't, because I'm pretty sure he does. And I think he has a cooler charisma. They can both go. Maybe it's the sunglasses. I don't know. The sunglasses might be swaying me, guys. I think he just has a better charisma, so I'm gonna give it to my man Bret.
All right, so congratulations to Bret Hart for being the champion of the classic era. Now, what moves on to
I'm shocked.
the hardest probably match. Attitude Era. Stone Cold Steve Austin ranked number 1 against ranked number 2, The Rock. Who's going first?
Go ahead, Delisha. You go first.
Right. I feel like this has been a feud of the Attitude Era.
It is.
It's fitting that we get it here. Jesus. The wheel. Okay, so as far as For Impact, I give it to The Rock because it's in-world and out-world, as I keep saying, from WWE and more. In ring, I honestly think they're fairly compatible, especially since they work with each other like almost every other week. They kind of feed off of each other. And from what it comes down to, toe-to-toe, charisma, mic workability, I don't know how you can't say The Rock, because like we were saying before, I think a lot of it he can do a lot more improv and a more commanding mic work. Not to say that Stone Cold isn't commanding either, but I just feel like toe to toe, word for word, beat for beat, promo to promo, I think The Rock will have the advantage, which would kick him to the finals.
Yeah, so Will's saying, look at their individual records, WrestleMania, head-to-head records. We're not looking like that, wrestling, like, record-wise and stuff like that. We're looking like how they are as an individual on their own and how they've come out. And like Will was saying, they came out of the Nation of Domination, but he was that rebel within the nation. Like, he made his character from himself, like, being a rebel against the nation, then becoming The Rock, right? Because he was Rocky Maivia. He became a trademarked, just like Stone Cold is trademarked, I guess, too, as well. But even outside the world of wrestling, it's if you say The Rock, right? People want to say, oh, do you want to go see the Dwayne Johnson movie? They'll probably say The Rock movie. He goes into acting as Dwayne Johnson, but he's like a political figure, not political, but like, what do you call it? A social figure, a movie star. He is every person's dream come true in every aspect of everything, right? That's how I see him. And he has just shattered the glass ceiling of every single thing he's done. And I can't not vote for The Rock because
even if you, I was gonna say, even if you wanted to give him the legacy argument, he has surpassed everyone in his family.
Right, but don't get me wrong. These two are hand in hand, like a symbiotic relationship. These two, you can't be Stone Cold without The Rock. Can't be Rock without Stone Cold. Like the way they came up together, it's just they're meant to be. If we could fuse,
every time he's trying to make a point.
If we could fuse them together into one person, that Stone Rock or whatever, The Cold, like whatever you want to call them, they are hand in hand the greatest combination of wrestling superstars to be at a time, any point in history. But I have to give it to The Rock because of lasting impact and whatever he's done for the world too. It's not just the wrestling universe; it's the world. Being a producer, making great movies, producing great movies. It's just The Rock.
It's The Rock. All right. Right? Didn't Delisha vote for The Rock too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my vote doesn't matter because I would also vote for The Rock. So go ahead.
And Will does have the best. For the stunner.
Yeah. Sure. Congratulations to The Rock for winning the Attitude Era Championship, and he does have that because they had a bet, I think, for a case of beer on who could sell their other person's finisher better, and The Rock ended up winning because he took that Stone Cold Stunner like that. So that's why that story. All right, in the finals of the PG era, we have number 3 Chris Jericho against number 7, the biggest upset, The Miz. And I know it's probably gonna be the hardest on Nicole, so we should have her go first.
It is. It is going to be the hardest on me because I'm a huge fan of both of these guys. Here's the thing, right? So it comes down, first of all, they're both still wrestling after years and years and years. Chris Jericho, he does leave the WWE from time to time. He always seems to show back up because he's got his own shit going on. He's wrestled abroad. He's fantastic on the mic. Him and The Miz, they're both great on the mic. They both tell fantastic stories. This is incredibly hard for me. Of course, I've been arguing the whole time through this that Chris Jericho is the GOAT, right? Like, when it comes to wrestling, everyone knows who Chris Jericho is. Like, I mean, even if you don't know him from wrestling, you know him from music, or you know him from, the Travel Channel going and ghost hunting or whatever. And it's it's hard for me because I want to pick The Miz because I think he deserves it more. But Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time when it comes to wrestling, and his championships prove it. I mean, the WWE uses him over and over and over again because at the end of the day, you're gonna get some fantastic wrestling, some great storyline, and some awesome stuff on the mic. So my vote is gonna be for Chris Jericho. I'm sorry, Miz. I'm sorry.
Taking money away from his family. It's not fair. No, I'm just kidding.
Delisha, what are you voting for?
I too have to go with Jericho. Again, based on the biggest factor of charisma, and I think he does have versus the Miz. I would say he would have the better in-ring capability and the more cultural impact. So I would give it to Mr. Y2J himself.
Yeah, one word for me for who I'm going to vote for is legacy. It's got to be Chris Jericho. All right, so congratulations to Chris Jericho for being our PG era winner. Now to our final era, the current era. We have AJ Styles, number 4, against number 7, Finn Balor.
I'll take this one first if you want.
Go ahead.
Already. So, I told you guys as we got further in, it was going to get harder and harder. If we're going to go off my last argument, especially with Kyle's with Legacy, it has to go to the phenomenal one. I'm not even sure if he may be the better worker, because I feel like they both have really great in-ring talent, and even their matches together, you're just like, man, like, really fight forever. But I do feel that AJ also has the slighter edge with Mike's ability, and it's not because of Finn's accent. Sometimes Irish.
Nice. It's his abs. He's got better abs than AJ Styles.
Okay, that he definitely wins. But when we're talking about the overall arc, I gotta give it to AJ.
My vote is for AJ Styles as well. I love Finn Balor. I mean, obviously, I'm wearing his shirt tonight. But I mean, I love AJ just as much. I mean, he's amazing. He's bar none one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen wrestling over any time period. I mean, he is truly phenomenal because he's phenomenal to watch. I mean, his theme music kicks in and all I want to do is rap. Like when I get ready to lift heavy in my gym, I'm like, fucking turn that on because they ain't want none. Like, I mean, I love it. So, yeah, he makes my workouts phenomenal because he is a phenomenal one. My vote is for AJ Styles.
Well, he's not only phenomenal, but he's also the unanimous choice for the current winner of this era, AJ Styles. Like I said before, I don't have to argue it again. It should be the poster boy of wrestling itself, not just the WWE, but wrestling. And we lost
Agreed.
Delisha. All right.
We lost Delisha again.
So there goes. He's the champion of the current era. So now I got to scroll up in a weird way. This site is so weird. It's not letting me scroll. Scroll.
I know, right?
Please let me scroll.
So weird having to scroll.
But it's not even scroll. Like I gotta hold the match, hold the thing. All right. So ending group stage. And now we're going to the final stage, if it lets me go. No ads, please. Oh my God, is it not gonna let me go?
You went a little muted a little bit for like 3 seconds, so I didn't hear what you just said.
I'm trying to click it, but it's not letting me click it. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Start the final stage. All right. It's not let me scroll. Let me scroll, you bitch. Oh God, it's not gonna let me scroll. It's got that.
Those of you that are following along on the website, you just got to click refresh and you will see the new bracket. So just refresh your page. Those of you that just popped in, well, let me share it with you. Here you go.
There we go. Okay.
For the finals.
All right, so we have our first matchup of rank number. Oh, this is weird that this guy's rank 1. Oh, I guess it goes by like who is the highest rank coming out of it. So first match is. All right. we have Bret Hart against AJ Styles.
Oof.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna give it to AJ Styles again. I mean, for everything I just said. I mean, even Cal said, you know, he should be the poster boy for all of wrestling because he is just that good. He's that known, and he is amazing. Not that Bret Hart isn't, because he is, but man, I mean, AJ Styles, he's gonna be the ones that people are talking about 30 years from now. Like that is gonna be his legacy.
Yeah, and Bret Hart, to beat the man, you got to beat the man. He did beat the man, and I still think he is the best there is, the best there ever was, and the best there ever. What will he be the best there ever will be? I don't know, because AJ Styles, like I said, is the poster boy for wrestling, in my opinion. So I would have to give it to AJ Styles.
I concur.
All right, so
I concur.
AJ Styles moving to the finals.
Oh my gosh.
Now it brings us to The Rock and Chris Jericho.
Oh my
the winner of the Attitude Era and the winner of the Peach Era. I don't know if you want me to start, but I love The Rock, so I gotta speak
Please
well
do.
about him. And
Please do, because I'm still very on the fence.
Chris Jericho, we know. You mentioned all the accolades, right? But I think just in what The Rock has done in his life, I feel has surpassed all the accolades. You know, championships come and go, but it's a lasting impact you have on people, I think. You know, champions, it's like given to people, you know, if you're hot at the moment, who you're not hot at the moment kind of thing. And Jericho's been great consistently throughout his career. Like I said, from Lionheart Chris Jericho to Le Champion that he is now in AEW. But I feel like the lasting impact a person will have on...
Chris Jericho, shut up.
Yeah, Chris Jericho or Tony Khan shut me off right there.
You just made the list, Kyle.
Yeah, I just made the list.
You made the list.
I feel like the lasting impact a lasting impact that someone has on your life is like more significant. And being, like I said, a social figure, a movie star, a wrestler that he can come back and not lose a beat. There's nothing you can say bad about The Rock, I don't think. Caring individual, you know, and he's not a shy champ. I'm sure if you read all his accolades too, he has just as many championships as Chris Jericho. It's just, I feel like he has just had that lasting impact on the business as well as supersede the business. He's become bigger than the business itself. He is like just The Rock. And you say The Rock to anybody in any country, that is gonna make an impact, no matter what you say. You know what you say. Just all you gotta say is The Rock. So I'd have to say The Rock.
I think that is what it comes down to. 'Cause I feel like they are very well evenly matched until you get that cultural impact. Like you said, he surpassed the business through where people coming in wanting to emulate that, and that's why a lot of them fail, because there's only one, the great one. Yeah, like it's coming down to cultural impact, and you cannot deny he has done not only for the business inside the ring, but for the business outside the ring.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still caught, but obviously it doesn't matter what I say because The Rock wins. But yeah, I mean, you could argue that Chris Jericho has gone, you know, outside of that, but he doesn't necessarily promote wrestling outside of wrestling. But I mean, The Rock is just a great guy. You know, I mean, I follow him on Instagram. I ordered a poster yesterday for my home gym that is The Rock, like lifting, because he's my motivation, not Schwarzenegger, but The Rock, because when he lifts, I want to be like that. I'm like, oh, I want to be strong. And yeah, I love him. So you know what? I want to give it to Chris Jericho just to be odd man out, but I will also defer and give it to The Rock because I really just want to see The Rock and AJ Styles duke it.
Yeah, so both winners are unanimous going into the finals.
Yeah.
And Bobby was saying that you can't really say that because The Rock left twice for the movies, but Jericho left for his music as well. So it's like not like they're both parallel in the same way, but I feel like lasting impact in life, it's The Rock, no matter what.
Yeah, and to go to other companies.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's so much evenly matched to get to that lasting point.
This is the final for the best of all time, where it features number 7, AJ Styles, but number 4 in the final bracket against number 2, The Rock. So I went first last time.
Holy
Someone else
wow.
please go first.
Delisha, you go.
Okay. I'm walking you through my thought process. Honestly, in-ring ability is probably going to go to AJ Styles. He has a bit more versatility and a bit more I don't know, maybe not freeing athleticism because they're both athletic in different ways. Um, but I think that edge goes to AJ. Uh, then you start talking into the charisma where they both have it in spades, and I think
Oh no!
Oh, no.
I bet you Delisha was going to say that The Rock has the edge in the
In
mic.
charisma, yep.
Yep.
And AJ shut her off. The Bullet Club shut
Discord is like, can y'all get
it's
off?
It's definitely Discord, yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. Who
Okay,
has more charisma?
It's gotta be The Rock.
Ah, we were right.
And like we just said from like his last 2 rounds, is his cultural impact, like I said, for the business and out, for the business inside and out. It's right now is unmatched. So I'm gonna give it to The Rock.
I'm going to give it to AJ Styles because I think he is the future of wrestling. I think that while The Rock has had his time and that he is amazing, and I love The Rock, he's a fantastic wrestler, he's a great movie star. I think when it comes to wrestling, if we're just limiting it down to that, because we are technically supposed to be doing that, or Hulk Hogan wouldn't have made it past round 1. You know what? I think AJ Styles is the future of wrestling. I think that his reach is going to be much further when it's all said and done for wrestling itself than The Rock's will be, which is saying something because he wouldn't have a stepping, stool if it wasn't for The Rock. So I recognize that The Rock is what has given AJ his place. But I think AJ Styles I think he is the greatest of all time.
Okay. It's going to come down to me, I guess. People think it's going to be an obvious answer for me, but it's not really, because I got to disagree with both of you on certain points. First of all, Delisha. She said you get a slight edge to AJ Styles in technical wrestling. I disagree. I think you have a huge edge in technical wrestling to AJ Styles because he's a far better wrestler than The Rock will ever be. AJ Styles might go down as one of the greatest wrestlers. I don't mean wrestlers as in like Kurt Angle style wrestling or Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, not that kind of wrestling. I mean like WWE wrestling, whatever you want to call it, like that wrestling, sports entertainment wrestling. AJ Styles is probably the greatest ever sports entertainment wrestler, I think. If not, yeah, I think, yeah, it probably has to be.
Yeah.
Now, charisma, I definitely agree with you. The Rock, what AJ Styles makes up for what Rock lacks in technical, he makes up charisma, outshines anyone in the history of wrestling, I think. So that's why they both had that. Now, to go to Nicole's point of what I do disagree with, AJ Styles is the future of wrestling. I have to disagree with you there. Respectfully disagree because I think AJ Styles is on his final contract, right? And it's only for another few years because he just says he wants to end it with his company. What can he do, right, in the last few years, honestly, to especially when they're marketing other people kind of thing? What can he do in those last few years? I don't think he can. I see myself, when I look at the future of wrestling, I look at people like Adam Cole and Seth Rollins and all those NXT people that we talk about for, the next-gen superstars that we talked about in the AfterMat Awards. We didn't have AJ Styles because AJ Styles, his resume speaks for itself to this day. That's why we said he is the poster boy of wrestling. I don't think he's the future of wrestling because I think that he's at the end of his career. Even though he's still young, he still hasn't lost a step in anything. I don't think he's the future. Okay, so Will said AJ wants to go to the performance center and coach, which was probably the best thing he can do. That's probably the best wrestler I ever want to learn from. But yeah, like now, yeah, man, I love them both. Everyone knows how much I love The Rock, but like AJ was, like Delisha knows, every time we have an AJ match on AfterMat, I take it because I love AJ Styles. I did not watch TNA until I saw AJ Styles, and I was like, I fell in love with that guy. He was the reason why I watched TNA. Him and Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle when he eventually went there. But damn, man, like
it's hard.
It's hard, but in times like now, right? I think we have to look at a person who transcends everything, right? In wrestling, you are what we said is like the mic, which is The Rock. You are the ring, which is AJ, but then you're also the universe, right? And nobody represents the universe or has the heart of the universe more than The Rock. And in trying times like now, he can come back and cut one promo and impact millions of people, so he is the universe. Like, he has, he's captured them like The Miz. Like, The Miz emulates himself. He's The Miz because of The Rock. And we talk about so much about The Miz being who he is and how much he loves the business. It's because of The Rock, right? So it has to be The Rock, because The Rock, like I said, I give the ring to AJ, I give the charisma to Rock, but the universe is the final step, and I think that is The Rock. The Rock is the WWE universe, and he is, I guess, also the AfterTalk champion, winning 2 votes to 1 for being the best of all time.
Which I can happily take that. So even though AJ lost, no salt here. I mean, it's The Rock, you guys.
Yeah, for him to get to the finals, let's see if it shows like The Rock as a champion. Does it show it? Oh yeah, there it is. Supreme Champion, worthy adversary. That's cool.
That's fantastic. Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up, because
this has been really fun. I liked it. That was fun.
I have to go finish building my squat rack.
I wouldn't have thought that it would come down to AJ versus The Rock. I actually don't even know what I actually
Dude,
thought about.
I knew The Rock was gonna make it all the way to the end, because
I mean
Rock.
AJ versus The Rock, I should say.
Yeah, I think it was a good match. Good.
I
It was
just
good
want to show
times.
that there are a lot of great wrestlers throughout all the eras, and I think we're in probably one of the most exciting eras maybe since the Attitude Era, where there's so much hope and promise for what's to come, that I'm happy for it, and it is due to the backs and shoulders of all these wrestlers before, who have influenced the generation of now, who really strive to be the best that they can be. And you guys should also be glad that we didn't include more wrestlers, because we would have been here until midnight.
Holy
so
hell.
you're welcome.
Jeez. Huh. Cool. Outros.
Wow. But this was really fun, and if you guys have liked what we have done, hit that like button, leave a comment down below if you're watching back on a replay or right now, if you would like us to see us do more of this in the future, and if so, what kind of bracket would you like to see? Would you like to see tag teams? Would you like to see us current era? Would you like to see us do one at the end of the year of 2020, in the weird year that it was, of who's the best of the year? I don't know. You let us know down in the comments what you would like to see from if you would like to see a future bracket episode, and if so, what kind would you like? Nikki, tell them, where can they find you?
Okay, so you can find me on pretty much all social media at Rhapsody0607. However, I have recently on Instagram changed it just for a hair review thing. That's what I do. I do hair. And yeah, that's at Rhapsody's Reviews, which you could also find on my normal Instagram. You can find me on Twitter at Rhapsody0607. And you can find me on YouTube at Rhapsody's Vlog, where I vlog about hair and life and stuff. But hair and life and stuff. And history now, because, COVID-19. So yeah, come chit chat with me. It's fun. And you can find me here on Kingslayer Network, talking wrestling. Duh. Support Cal, because he's great.
Speaking of Cal, where can we find you? Besides,
thank you, Sky.
Yes, they already do.
Sky enjoyed this episode. To do more brackets, maybe a female one only. Which be maybe next time Women's Evolution comes along or something, or whatever. Maybe whatever.
Whenever that
do
comes
it.
back.
We can do it again, because I don't know if it's ever gonna come along again. But yeah, we should definitely do one. That's more fair, because I feel like they kind of got the short end of the stick here. It'd probably be more current, I feel. But thank you, Slater. Slater also loved it as well. Yeah, for me, you can find me here on the Kingslayer Network. We'll be doing another AfterMat next week, same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, to talk about Backlash, I believe it is now. And then I'll be starting video game streaming again on June 19th for Last of Us Part 2. Thank you for having me, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
And you can find me at Delicia Renee on Twitter and Instagram. And, of course, in the next episode of AfterTalk, of course, once we always know what we're going to be doing, you'll hear from us. Then you'll see me again next week talking Backlash, which is a pay-per-view. Haven't heard that name in a while. I mean, but I wonder if we will have witnessed the greatest match of all time ever, as they keep saying every 5 seconds.
Is that for Edge and Orton?
Yeah.
Oh, I figured. Okay.
But have a good night, guys. As always, be safe. Wear your mask.
Social distancing is sexy.
Wait, why would you wear your mask? Then you can't smell what The Rock is cooking.
That's true.
All right, just take it
what
off
do I
for a
do?
little bit. Make sure you're always being your most excellent selves. And we will see you next time.
Laters.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled